Thanks, Nui. So, hey, everybody, it's Friday. We're back. I think the last time I streamed was Monday, the 21st. I don't know why I even am guessing. I could just check. It was the 22nd. Oh, that's just the date of Monday because I don't know how to subtract. Yeah, so this bodes well for an interview prep stream. It was the 22nd, and what happened that day, I was learning Rust, and then there were like a million internet problems. And I very, very strongly dislike streaming when I'm dropping like 30% of the frames. So let's see if today's any better. Honestly, I think that kind of set things off on a bad note that day. The calendar shows yesterday. I forgot to delete that one. All right, thank you, Nui, for telling me about that. But hey, everybody. Hey, Nuclehead. Hey, Lumi. Hey, Reformulate. It's C17R. Today is going to be about interview prep. And I mentioned this in the stream notification, but not all of you may have seen it, which is that I think today is going to be probably like 80% technical and maybe 20% behavioral. And this should be pretty interesting. And as far as technical stuff goes, it'll be the kinds of like leak code sorts of questions from what I understand. I don't think I've used leak code, so I'm not totally sure if that's the right thing that I'm thinking of here. Radon, welcome back. Thanks for resubbing. So let's edit the today command, edit com Friday. Adam is going to be doing interview prep. There aren't any specific interviews that this is for. It's just for the job hunt. Should do it that way in general. Today will likely be mostly technical and only some behavioral question. Hey, Sabaev, and hey, Goose, Bob Siegel, and Andalor. Can we do Clash of Code today? Maybe. I don't know. I still need to look into this stuff. Hey, Ramo. Yeah, let me update this now. So how far along in the search are you? I should update this for today. In general, what I've seen. Okay, so let's just shorten this down, I think. As a result, I started applying to jobs in my city. What I quickly found was that my resume, it was absolute garbage and needed to be greatly improved, which I've since done. Yeah, so what else? I think that's about it. Hey Thoros, hey 85 filter. Haven't done it yet from what I've seen. It's basically hacker rank lead code, but timed to multiplayer-ish. So Goose, no one's gonna watch the VODs. That's the thing. I think at most someone's gonna tune in for like 5 minutes to see, oh wow, I've never heard of development on Twitch, and then that's gonna be about all. Now, with that said, here's what I think. I think that if we do interview prep for let's say like 40 hours, I think that's a good way of getting an idea about how someone would interview because they're going to be pretty much the same questions. And we should get to the point after, I don't know, 10, 20 hours where we're just kind of knocking out questions. This is what I've seen generally in the past when I do coding prep is that you start seeing patterns and problems. And then here's what I don't like about it is that almost none of it pertains to a job. So every time you've ever been asked to write a linked list, like, have you ever done that on a job? maybe the principle might have helped, but even then, I feel like you learn about the principle in computer science, you do at least. Funky Monkey, welcome back. Thank you for the 7 months. And then the principle is really all that you need here. Hang on a sec. Let me make sure. Okay, yeah. So I want to post and I've gone live. I'm live again on Twitch. Normally I would notify people, but I haven't been streaming I haven't been streaming this week. We're doing interview prep today. Okay. You're about to send a message to everybody. There. Yeah, I don't normally do that. I think it's a good idea. Also, random questions to see how you think. How many basketballs can you fit in a bus? I've never been asked those, as far as I know. I think there is a job where you should know this, and I think development could kind of be part of it. Because I think the goal is how do you estimate with incomplete data? Like, you know what a bus is and you know what a basketball is. You probably don't know the size of either of those. And the goal is not to get the exact number. So it's to figure out how you think. Yeah, like you said. But I think that there's this anchoring bias that probably exists. Like there is a number. And let's just say it's 10. That was wildly wrong, and I could just not have to guess myself right now. Let's say you could fit 10 basketballs in a bus and no more. A candidate who guesses 100, a candidate who guesses 1, they're off by one order of magnitude. A candidate who guesses like 10,000, even if their way of thinking is right, probably still biases interviewers to say, no, we had candidates who guessed better. Hey, Hannah. Hey, Smurf. Am I prepping for algorithm interviews? Yeah, we'll be doing that today. Just got hired as senior executive. Here's how, adamwords.com. Yeah, if only we could just link that everywhere. Hey, Jer. Yeah, it's technically not wrong, just not exact. Hey, Jake. Okay, so there's one last thing I want to do before we get started here, which is post to Twitter. I have just been neglecting the Twitter completely, so my Twitter completely. So I'm back to streaming today with interview prep. It'll be mostly technical and with only a sprinkling of behavioral questions. Tweet. There, done. Hey, take care now. All I've heard about interview tests is that they're garbage and irrelevant. That's generally how I think. The best interview I ever had, and I've only had one of these interviews, was a pair programming interview. That was awesome because this is how you'll actually work. So they gave me a task. I don't remember what the task was at this point. This was many, many years ago. They gave me a task, and one of the people interviewing me actually sat down with me. This was in person, so he was right next to me, and we just started coding. I thought that was really, really good. Moose Hair, welcome back to YouTube. Thank you for resubbing. And yeah, I'm using Visual Studio Code. All right, so let's get started. First, we need to figure out how we even find these problems because I didn't do any of this prep beforehand. It's interview prep. We're going to do this prep on stream. So I know that there are, let's say, like coding interview problems. I know there are sites for this. And like I said, I'm pretty sure LeetCode is one of them. Let's just go to LeetCode. What does LeetCode have on it? Oh, this is a paid thing? Wait, is this free? Does anybody know? Does anybody know if any of the platforms is free, basically? So Code Wars, so Hacker Rank, Code Wars, Code Signal, LeetCode. Okay. Yeah, I want to look through these. Best interview I had was for my current internship where I got passed. It was just a VP talking about development and technology. Yeah, I think it's really nice. And Code Wars is totally free. So all these are free. Okay. And I want to make a note about. Let's put this in here. Let's make an interview prep note. Yeah, asking about programming patterns, I think that's good. I think it's fine. I think just these are the kinds of interviews that I don't necessarily like. And I've done them for big companies like Microsoft and Google. And typically you've got like a 5-hour long set of interviews just back to back. And it's just, okay, here's the problem I have. And then they ask you about this problem. And then you just move on to the next person. Okay, here's the problem I have. And it's a lot of whiteboard coding. So free sites to use. Let's put this here. Hey, Woodgut. I'll come back. Check out this, even just for the recording videos. Okay, so I'll include some other. So these are ones where it's like solve coding problems. And these are just other resources, I guess. So recorded videos, interviewing, and then Harshit linked Geeks for Geeks. A computer science portal for geeks. Okay, I'll write that down here too. Learning algorithms. Hey, gals. And then these four, which I'll need to actually search for. I don't know. Man, Chrome keeps doing that. It's not fun. All right, so hacker rank, Code Wars. Whoops. Oh, what is going on? Something just messed up. Okay, Code Wars. It's not 100% free if you target interviews for specific companies. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Free sites to use. Yeah. So, okay, Code Wars, they don't capitalize this at all. Yeah. Well, no, they do capitalize it. They just don't in their logo. Code Signal. What language am I going to be using? I've been debating on this. I don't know if I should just do it in a language that I feel comfortable with or do it in a language where I will need to look things up. But I don't think it really matters too much. I would say the point of all algorithm and data structure questions is the algorithms and the data structures, not the language. To the point where you could be using pseudocode, except for pseudocode can't be checked to see if it compiles or anything. What is they capitalize both words? Okay. So this is very anal of me, but I want to do this anyway. And then leak code. All right. So I wonder which one of these we should do. What would you answer if they asked you what's your biggest flaw? There was, do I have this command? Hang on a second. Yeah, this is what I would answer. In fact, I already have the command for it. Blam. I'm gonna print this out. And Project Euler. Okay. So I'll write that down too. This is more for math than for algorithms. All right, let's just go with hacker rank because people were suggesting that. And let's see if I have an account. I highly doubt it. I do. Why do I have an account? Hang on a sec. Let me log in. I'm going to do this off screen. Why do I have an account? Can I see when I made this in my password manager? Creation time, June 9th. Oh, I think I know. I think some other company had me do a problem or something through here. So pick your preferred language. I guess I'll just pick JavaScript for now. Your first challenge. Oh yeah, I've used Project Euler before. It'd be funny if anyone ever used Botland for this, and they're like, "All right, write a bot that does this," and I knock that out completely. No more Rust. No, we'll be doing Rust again. I just think, okay, so I've been all over the place in the last, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks. I am not very good in these times of flux, and yeah, so I've just basically been shutting down. This week, I wanted to not stream as much, and so there are three major things happening. There's the job hunt. There is learning technologies, which was sort of for the job hunt, and that's where we were doing Golang and TypeScript and Rust, and we're still learning this. And then there is Botland 3, which I've been prototyping. In case you're wondering, where's Botland 2? Botland 2 would have been a bad game, so we're just skipping right to 3. So I don't expect this to go anywhere. I'm just doing this for fun, really. But I thought of some really good ideas, and designing a game is generally like it's more fun than work sometimes. So yeah, that's why I say I've been all over the place. And yeah, we're just gonna do an interview prep today. I think that's the most important thing. Okay. Yeah. So let's get back to where I was here. So this is it. Close tabs. So this is an introductory challenge to help you get familiar with the HackerRank coding environment. So let's see. Can we move? Oh, do they not have shortcuts on here? Oh, they have some, just not the ones I expect. Oh, okay. That's not too bad, I guess. Hey, Kappa. So complete the function solve me first to compute the sum of two integers. Int solve me first. Function prototype. Oh, okay. Sure. Where is the second integer? Or first integer, second integer, sum of the two. So type return A plus B. This is, I think, the toughest question in the world. We hit run code, and then what happens? I mean, it should just say, like, congrats, you did it. Although it's not doing anything. Oh, okay. Hey, I've used that confetti library before. I know exactly what that is. I use that in Botland. Are you a student or a professional? Hang on, let me do this stuff off screen. I don't know what it's going to link to. Proceed to dashboard. Hello, Adam. Our mission is to help every developer find their dream job. Are you open to new job opportunities? I don't know what it's going to do if I say yes, so I'm going to say no. Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to sign me up for interviews. I don't know what I'm going to use exactly yet, programming mouse. I think I'll start with JavaScript. So what do we do here? Do we just go through these things at the top? Because that doesn't sound right. I thought they had... Oh, here we go. Algorithms and data structures. Okay, let's start with algorithms, I guess. Simple array sum. Calculate the sum of integers in an array. Solve challenge. Okay, yeah, let's just go through this. I want to see how these things work. What does max score mean? Is that... Oh, I think I see how this works. You get points for hitting test cases, maybe? Do they have a dark mode for the whole site? Email address you signed up with isn't verified. You won't be on our leaderboard. Okay, hang on. Let me go sign up. Send again. I want to get these things out of the way. All these distractions. Did that even do anything? This site, up there it goes. It did. Conform. There. Okay. It sends an interview to your house. Hey, Mantis. If you make the code editor full screen, it'll change to dark mode? Oh. But only... Oh, interesting. Oh, so we can see everything all at once? Cool. Thanks a lot, Seagull. Did I start memorizing the list of weaknesses yet? I already have. It's right there. Hey, War Eagle. Okay, so given an array of integers, find the sum of its elements. For example, 1, 2, 3 is equal to 6. Complete the simple array sum function here. Wait, this isn't the language I chose. JavaScript. Okay, there. Takes an array of integers. Here it is. The first line contains an integer n, denoting the size of the array. What? That's not even true, right? Oh, wait, what? No, I'm not even handling the input and output. So I don't care about this, right? Okay, yeah. So I'm just supposed to write this here. So what I would do is just let sum equals 0 and then just iterate over the array. For let I equals 0, I is less than array dot length, I plus plus, sum plus equal a I, return sum. Is that it? Because it takes a very long time. And it keeps scrolling the page back up. So congratulations, you passed the sample test cases. Click the submit button to run your code against all test cases. So I guess this is where you're supposed to write your own test cases somehow. Yeah, test against custom input. And then you can say something like 10, -1, 5, and hit run code. Yeah, your output 4. I don't know if they want you to do things like error checking here, because that'll make this break. I'm not going to care about that. I don't think my point here is to get the highest scores. I think my point here is to like do the core of the algorithm here. You earn 10 points. Okay. They do it for you. You just look at the function prototype. Okay. Got it. Okay. So let's go back to the algorithms page. Just run against full code. If it fails, then you do error checking. Actually, against public ones, but you submit a runtime ones. Got it. Okay. So I guess, yeah, we probably should go to the medium problems, because it looks like the success rate of all of these is pretty high. Yeah, so the success rate of these things, 55, 95, 60. Maybe let's look at this one, I guess. What I know off the top of my head how to implement quicksort or merge sort, for example. Merge sort I don't really remember. Quicksort I probably would be able to do it. I have to think about it. Hey, Magnetic Mind, tape thing with scissors. It's called hackles. All right, so we can just click this button as we learned, and then wait, and go to dark mode. How do we get back to dark mode? Why? Give me a second, guys. Let me go back to my site settings. I don't know where you set this up. All right, well, never mind that. Only streaming on Fridays now. It's not really the plan. That's how it worked out this week. But I'm been doing okay. Oh, thanks, CEO. I generally know the process. I've interviewed for the big companies before, and I worked at Microsoft before, but I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking for right now. That's another problem. Is I applied to a bunch of companies without even really knowing or caring what they did, and then realized as I went through that I didn't really like many of them. Yeah. Hey, Kiwi. Hey, Batman. All right. I don't know how to get back to the dark theme, but yeah. Oh wait, it's this. Oh, I thought changed. Okay, I thought change theme meant change the syntax highlighter. So given a set of distinct integers. By the way, I'm not going to be reading chat while I'm doing these problems because I don't want to be influenced by what's happening here. What's the interview for? Nothing in particular. So once I get to the problem, yeah, I'll probably just go kind of heads down here. Given a set of distinct integers, so we know that they're unique. Print the size of a maximal subset of S where the sum of any two numbers in S is not evenly divisible by K. Okay, so let me see if I understand this without even looking beyond this. The sum of any two numbers is not evenly divisible by K. Okay. I think I see I think I see what's going on here. So let's say we had this. Let's say we got S is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's say we had K is equal to 17. So then the size of the maximal subset is going to be 5 because no sum of any of these is divisible by 17. Okay. So for example, there's this. One of the arrays that can be created is 10, 12, 25. Another is this, 19, 22, 24. After testing all permutations, the maximum length solution has 3 elements. So adding any two of these numbers, so 10 plus 12 is 22, not divisible by 4, 37 not divisible by 4, and 35 not divisible by 4. Interesting. So complete the non-divisible subset function in the editor below to return an integer representing the length as the following parameters, S and K. Okay. First line, oh, who cares about this stuff, right? And then constraints. 1 is less than n. What is n? The number of values S in the non-factor. Okay. So they're saying they're going to be 10,000 elements or fewer. So up to 10K elements in the array. And then K is from 1 to 100. And the second line, wait, what's this now? SI. So each individual element is up to 1 billion. But they're all positive integers. So if we got, so 3 is here, 1724. 1 plus 7 plus 4 is the largest subset. Okay. All right, yeah. So when I think about this, I think this is, I think there are always a couple ways to look at these things. One is there's math involved. So it's entirely possible there's a clever math solution. And then 2 is we're talking about permutations of every single thing in the list. So there's probably there's probably a solution where we can just iterate over this list a couple of times and produce all of our subsets that we have. But that can be quite a lot, because if you have an array of length 3, let's say, such as x, y, and z, the number of total subsets is every single combination of these. So 7 in this case, it's supposed to be an x. And yeah, that's going to just keep going up pretty drastically. So I wonder, let's see on the math front if there's anything that pops out to me here. So I guess one thing, I'll write down some other notes here. If any individual, no, never mind. I was going to write something that didn't make any sense, which was if any individual number is divisible by k, then we can omit it, but that's not actually true because we're summing them all. So I think the naive approach is generate every single possible subset starting from the largest size. And as soon as we find a subset that works for k, return the size. I feel like there has to be a better way. Also, I should probably time myself because in an interview I'd be timed. And then the other thing I always wonder about is if I'm going to should I do the naive approach and then improve it, or should I go with whatever's improved? So let's see. Anything else as far as... No, I'm gonna start with this. Plus, this is the first real problem we're doing, so I guess let's start with the easy way. All right, so generating every single possible subset. So let's start with a function that's pretty simple. We'll say like verify subset, and what this function is going to do is going to take in an array and k, and it's going to tell us if, so it returns true if the, what do they say here? Returns true if k is a non-factor, is what they call it, of all sums within array. Okay, so in order to get, and again, here I should look, is there any like math way of doing this? K is 4 here. No, I don't know. Okay, then let's get every possible sum. And I could make another function that does this. I don't think that's really necessary. Also, are we allowed to import Lodash? I use all of the iteration functions there. I wonder if I should just do this in a different language then. Okay. So we want to iterate over this whole thing. Like I said, I'm purposely ignoring chat. I don't know what chat is saying right now. If I equals j, continue. So we don't want to compare the element against itself. But if I plus j, this is the sum that we have. And then if sum percent k equals 0, then return false. Otherwise, return true. So now let's just test this one function that we have. Also, is there a way to format this code? I want to format my own code. So I don't know what the code shortcuts are. Okay, so yeah, let's test out just this one thing. In fact, let's just test on my own computer. Test.del, test.js. Okay, so now we have formatted code here too. So now, how do we want to test this? We want to test it with this, for example, 10, 12, 25. So verify subset 10, 12, 25, and I believe 4 is k. Yeah, so this should print true that it verifies. Yeah, good. And if we change this to 12, it should fail. It's still printing true. Which means I messed something up. So let's see what we're doing wrong here. This is gonna do sum is gonna be 12. All right, let's print this out. K is for some. Oh, whoops! I only changed. Okay, never mind. I see what I did. I only changed the string. Yeah, this works. Okay. Yeah. So I could probably try. I could probably try doing this with another few things. I think that's worthwhile. That way we know that we don't have a problem here later. So let's try the other examples that we have. 19, 22, 24. Should just print true, good. And then do we have any example of it printing false? So 1724, this should be false. And 3. Cool. Okay, so I'm reasonably confident with this. So by the way, general strategies, I want to talk about that at some point too. Let's write this down for interviewing. Once I read chat again, which it's gonna take a while. So I'm gonna write down general strategies. So break the problem down, write functions that you know, see, like plan the overall algorithm. Okay. So this is verify subset. Now what we could do is we could generate all of the subsets of something. So like generate subsets of array. And we want to start with the size. Yeah, this is gonna take forever if I do things this way. But I guess let's try it. Okay, so this function, what we're gonna do is, and I'll write the comment over here, I suppose. So given an array, this will return an array of all subsets of the given length. So if array.length equals size, then return the array itself. We probably don't even need a special case for that. But in every other case, so let's say we had a list of really x, y, z. So if we have x, y, z, this is going to return x, y, x, z, and y, z. So we're going to pick every combination. So it's pretty similar to what I had done up here in that we want this again. And we say like const subsets. Okay, that I will look at. Lazy Guru, welcome back. Whole half a year, sort of. It is a half year, and thank you. Yeah. So again, I'm ignoring chat except for apparently subscription messages. So don't give me help in a subscription message. So subset is going to be an array, and here we will push. We'll push an array of I, j, and then return subsets. So let's see if this even works, because this may be bad. So we're going to do stringify. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do it like this. So let's go with our x, y, z example. So 1, 2, 3, and we want arrays of size 2. And this doesn't work because I only consider this for arrays of size 2, right? Yeah. Also, this didn't return unique ones. That's another thing we have to consider. Because 2, 3, and 3, 2 are going to be the same. So let's see. We have, well, I guess I should be considering this with something like 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So how do we generate this? Basically come up with all the permutations of this array, but such that they're unique. An interesting problem. I guess what we could also think of this as, in this case, is we're just removing each number, which means I must have forgotten something here, right? Here we remove 4, here we remove 3. I never removed 2. Yeah. So 1, 3, 4 is also a case. But that's a case where we removed one thing. And across, welcome back to you too. Thanks for the 2 months. But if we wanted all of the 2 element sets, we'd have 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, and 3, 4. Okay. Eraser Fusion. Oh, hey, all those are included? Neat. Thanks. Thanks, Eraser Fusion. And I'll write that down too. Note that for hacker rank, these libraries are included by default. Okay. So I'm still trying to work my way through how this is done exactly. We need to consider what numbers we had started with. Okay, I kind of see what we're doing here. So let me see if I can start this. Let inner index start. I already feel like I'm going down a totally wrong path here. But hey, this is how we learn, right? So we could do this. And then push this, and when we're done with that loop, do this plus plus. Will that work? 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3. Okay, good. I think that's fine. Now we're gonna try it with this. 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4. Good. Yep, that works. Now we're gonna try with a set of size 3. No, this doesn't work because we're never pushing another element. Oh, whoops. So this is where I was saying I was doing everything for length too. We obviously need an array with more elements in it, which means we're going to need to search by size here. So we need to repeat this part. Okay, so how do we set this up? And is there a much better way of doing this? I still feel like there has to be. We could actually remove the first element from the original array as we're iterating over it, right? So let's see. Let's say like step 1 would be remove the first element, put it in the subset array. And then step 2, iterate over remaining elements. And kind of just do the same thing, forming the same operation. So we start with 1, and then we have 2, 3, 4 over here. And then we're going to go with 1, 2, until we have the target size. And we'd have removed this. So I guess this looks like this. And then we have 1, 2, 3. And this is an answer. And then we do 1, 2, 4. And this is an answer. This also won't work. Well, I mean, it will, the way I've written it out here, but it's not the way I wrote it out in English. Okay, so what should I do here? Because ideally, here's what I'm looking to do is we get to the point where we can call generate subsets with the largest size and then test every subset. And if it's true, we return that. And so I think that ideal will work. I think it's also incredibly inefficient, although I don't know if there's a better way of doing it. But I'm getting stuck on the generate subsets part of this. And I think there's something to this, but I need to massage these steps a little. So okay, let's start to write the function that I had kind of explained out here, and maybe this will work and maybe not. Alternatively, I was gonna say we get a Lodash, we could probably just use whatever function they have for this, but I feel like this is part of the algorithm that I should be coming up with. All right, so function, what are we gonna call this one? Like generate subset recursive. So we'd have our like accumulator, and it's gonna start as just an empty array. And then we have our remaining array elements, and then our target size. So our accumulator is going to have something in here, and what we're going to do is test with all possible combinations of this. 0 I is less than elements. I guess we can start with this. If a cum.length is equal to target size, then return accumulator. This won't work. I need like 2 accumulators here. All right, we could do that too, I suppose. Yeah, we could do that too. So subsets will contain all subsets that we've generated. Q will contain the current array that we're building. So here what we do is we'd say subsets.push the accumulator and then return. All right, there's probably a better way to write that. Let's go through this now. So now here are the elements of our array. And we're going to push that onto the accumulator. So accumulator.push elements I. And this is where I was saying I'm going to figure out what I had written wrong over here. I hope. Otherwise, this is going to go very poorly. So what I've done so far is I've pushed like 2 into this array, and now I would remove it and then call into this function again. So at some point there's going to be this generate subset recursive, and it's going to be subsets. Here we'd have to make a copy of this array for this to work. Otherwise it's going to mess up. So maybe I shouldn't do things this way. Well, anyway, okay, let's try that. And then elements needs to have this thing removed. And I don't remember how to remove something from an array. I think it's splice. A.splice to 0. Does that do what I want it to do? What are the arguments of this? Yeah, okay, 2, 1. Okay. So we'd splice out that. We'd pass that in and the target size. This is wrong, but it's close. So I'm gonna do this really fast. This is a bad idea. And I know this is a bad idea. So we're gonna get an array and we're just gonna make a new array. And this might actually be built into JavaScript. I'll do this really fast. I is less than array.length plus I a.push array I. Okay. And I think there definitely is built-in map. I guess we could return this as just array.map I. That'll probably work too. All right. We should probably test clone array before we get any further, but here we're going to say cloned array. And every time I'm doing this, it's O of n, just to even clone this. That's why I wouldn't want to do this. And why I'm saying this is bad. So the cloned array is going to be a clone of the accumulator. We're going to push that element, pass in the clone, and then elements.splice can't be done unless we clone that too. Yeah. Okay, I think we're good here. This is if it's equal to. I guess if it's less than the target size, that doesn't matter because we're going to build it up, and it can never be greater than. Yeah, so this should be fine. Yeah. Okay, who has any clue if this is going to work though? So how do we call this? We should have put these at the end, I guess. Yeah. Well, I can pass them in as undefined if I want, or just empty arrays. All right, so let's pass in 1, 2, 3 and a target size of 2. See if this actually generates anything. Oh boy, undefined, because that's not how this works. It should return. It's going to modify this. Okay, this is like a weird way of calling things. I guess what we could change this to is delete all of this, call this function. People in chat are probably pulling out their hair at this point. This is the same pressure that I feel during interviews, which is why this is good for me, because I do very poorly in interviews. I've streamed myself making code for the last 5 years. I've been a software developer. I've like got products out, but for some reason interviews still get to me. I don't know why. I also feel like I could present in front of people. I just don't like being tested on my knowledge with pressure. I know a lot of people are that way. That's not unique. But this is why I'm not reading chat right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to say like subsets here and then call this and then return subset. So now this just needs to take in the array and the size that's here, array size. All right, let's go try that out. So that changes into this and this changes into this. So let's try that. We're getting nothing back. So this is where I would debug this. Yeah, let's just dive into debugging it. So node inspect break test.js. And this should have loaded up. Give me a sec. There it is. Okay, this loads up the debugger. We're broken in, and I want to check out this line here. We go into it. So let's make sure that our things are what I expect them to be. Yes, and yes, and yes, and yes. Yeah, so all that's fine. Now we go into here, and we clone the whole array, and that broke. So I already messed this up. I wonder how I messed that up. Map should return everything that's passed in as an array. Or at least that's how Loadashes works. I don't actually know how. I don't know how the built-in one works. What does it do? Returns an array of key value. No, this is not the right map. Array.prototype.map is what I want. Creates a new array. Populate the results of calling a function. Oh, what did I do wrong? That actually looks correct. Okay, let's try this. Stringify clone array 1, 2, 3. No, that worked. Why didn't it work in the debugger then? Oh, I closed the debugger. Did I call it wrong? Oh no, the accumulator was empty, so this is going to be empty as well. No, never mind. I'm being dense. All right, let's try it again. Okay. So step into this. All right, so now cloned array. Wait, has nothing? All right, that makes no sense to me. Cloned array is an empty array at that point because the accumulator is empty. And then we push an element. Oh, whoops. Whoa. I'm like indexing the function, and because functions are objects, that actually works, but it always returns undefined. Ooh. Okay, let's try this again. Hey, we did something, but we're doing this wrong. Oh man. All right, this generated every subset that we have, which is back to this. Let's just see out of curiosity if I had put this in as 4 and this is 3. Would this have generated? Yeah, it looks like it's generating all the subsets. So at least my logic kind of worked. Yeah. So how would we cut that out? I actually want to slice off these elements for good. That way they can never be used again. Yeah, I do. Okay, but we need to iterate. Oh, how do we change this? So when we splice this off here, I actually don't want to clone this. Yeah, I want to just do elements.splice. Now this is gonna cause a problem, right? First of all, it's gonna cause a problem because we're splicing as we're iterating over it. But that's not actually the biggest problem that we have. The biggest problem that we have is that no, actually it's not an issue. Yeah, maybe we just num elements equals elements.length. We could save this off beforehand. All right, let me try that out. Let's see what happens. Cloned elements is not defined. Hey, we messed everything up. Would that have been correct? No, it wouldn't have been. Okay. Yeah, no, this won't work. All right. So I am stuck on a sub problem of a problem, and I've missed like probably 40 pages of chat at this point. I think it's probably still worth me trying to recover from this and figure out where I went wrong. But I definitely messed up. So I guess let's step through this. We start with 1, 2, 3, 4, and I wanted to have one so that I end up with 1, 2, 1, 3, and 1, 4. This one will never complete, but in this one will go into 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 4. So go into 1, 3, 4. Am I missing anything? Yeah, I need 2, 3, 4, and that would be down here. Yeah, so 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Right. So it's this step where I've messed up that we need to iterate over every sub-element. Okay, I think I understand. Let j equals. So we've already spliced out the element at this point. So we're going to have 2, 3, 4. J equals 0. J is less than element.length. J plus plus. Okay, so I just got to figure this part out now. So we have this for sure. We splice that out. And then we're going to call this function with, how's that going to change? Oh, I see. We're going to do cloned array dot push elements j, and then call this each time. I'm going to just run this and see if it did what I wanted to do. No, it didn't. And now I'm going to debug it. Okay. I don't care if this takes me like another hour. I want to try to figure this out, and then I want to examine how I should have thought about this, because this is how I'll learn the most, I think, is by seeming like I've never touched development before. Okay, so we go into this function. This part's fine. This part down here. So now our cloned array ends up with 1. That's good. And then we splice out that first element, which I should always be 0 here. I shouldn't be iterating over this. This is always 0. All right, let's run it again. Yeah. Let's see. Is this not gonna, oh, there it goes. All right, let's move the breakpoint to where I'm actually concerned with here. I guess it's down here. All right, so elements is 2, 3, 4. Cloned array is currently 1. This is what I expect so far. Now, what are we doing here? Oh, I know. We need to clone this one too. Yeah. Whoops. Okay. Let's try that now. Still not doing what I want. We'll debug it again. This is going to be great. I'll become a battle veteran after all of this. And by the way, this is what I would typically do if I weren't streaming and I was preparing for interviews, except for you typically don't see someone's early foray into interview prep, because typically if they're doing a mock interview, they would have already done some things. So yeah. Whoops, I didn't mean to press that button. Break out of this and try it again. Man, I have a fan pointing directly in my face, which is drying out my eyes, but I need it because it's too hot in here and it's not even midday yet. All right, let's go through here. So we clone the first array, we get nothing. We have 1 in here, good. Then we go through all of these, clone it again, and push the second element. So now we have 1, 2. All right, so as far as I'm concerned, nope, that's actually wrong. We need to also splice out that other element. So we are going to need to clone this too. This is the worst. Yeah, this is definitely the worst. Elements dot splice J1. Oh boy. All right, let's inspect this now. Then I think it might be worth taking a step back and thinking that it probably shouldn't be this difficult. So let's go back down to that line that I had. Okay, so here we're going to splice out the 0th thing. So the array contains 1, 2. I'm not sure if what I'm doing here is going to totally break everything else. This is the wrong thing that I spliced. Okay. We're 0 steps closer. Yeah, I should definitely consider this. Okay, 1, 2, and this should say 3, 4. Yeah, it does. So then what I'm doing internally here is wrong. And I think I know why. Yeah, I know why. It's because I'm doing this 2 elements at a time. All right, I need a more generic way of doing this. There is one other thing we could do. We could go with the original solution that I had that generated everything and then just prune out all the ones that are the same, which would be sorting all the lists and then making the list unique. That's even more operations, like n log n for sorting. And then making it unique, I'd probably store it in an object. So I am still stuck on this problem. Okay, hang on. Let me put in eye drops really fast. Otherwise, my eyes are going to start tearing up. Give me a sec. No, wrong one. No. I just want to turn this off. Okay, good. Hang on. I have a very hard time putting in eye drops. Okay. I'll give me another sec. Promise I'm not looking at chat. Okay. Oh. Yeah, so I am spending a lot of time on this. And this is where I start getting in my own head. Like, I don't think it matters in an interview too much how long you spend on it, as long as you are making progress. No, I guess that's not true. I guess you kind of have a time limit. So I messed up here because each time I'm doing 2 for loops, which assumes that I'm always going to pull 2 elements, and I only want to pull the next element, but I need to make sure that I've only considered certain ones. How else can we do this? Because I want to split out all the elements of this, and then underneath them use the elements that we have left. So we'd have 2, 3, 4. Here we'd have 3 and we'd have 4. This is kind of hard to display here. And then here we'd have 4. And then we could find all the paths of length 3 through this tree, maybe. No. Seems like a bad idea. Okay, well, there is one other way we could do this, which is generate all possible subsets and then remove numbers. That's probably dumb too. Man. Okay, how about this? Here's an idea that I have. What if we used code that generated all the possible subsets so I can see if my algorithm at least works? I feel like that's cheating. Yeah. I feel like that's cheating. All right. I'm stuck and I'm very much in my own head. The other thing I could do is come back to this later and see if I've got any other ideas. And the other thing I could do is instead of treating this like it's an interview, treat it like it's practice and just have Red chat this whole time. That's probably the best way to do things. Because the whole point of this was to practice. But now I feel like I'm already committed. I started this. Hmm. Okay, well, let me try something. Maybe we can. Okay, here's something we might be able to do. What if we generate all subsets of size 2 and then go through them and build the next size up? Could we do that, I wonder? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the subsets of size 2, which we had code for before, which I don't have anymore. But anyway, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, and 3, 4. So if we generate all of these, is it easy to go to the next size up? I guess if we sorted the array, it could be. Because then we can go through each of these and trust that. No. Hmm. Well, maybe we start with our base case of just 1 here. But no, I don't think that's going to help. Yeah, I don't know what I should do. I'm still trying to decide. I'm still trying to decide whether I should take on this problem or not. So, like I said, I feel like I feel like I'm complicating things, but now I feel like I'm not making any progress on the problem, and all I'm thinking about is how I'm not making progress. Okay, well, let's think of some general strategies here of, yeah, break the problem down. We got this working for sets of size 2, and I was wondering from there if we could go to sets of size 3. It doesn't look like that'd be easy unless what I went through is, like I said, I sorted each element in the array. No, even that would be silly. I'd have to do this as I'm iterating over them. So I don't think that would work. We can't always assume that it's going to be size 2 or 3 either, and I haven't written out any of size 4 or 5. What else could we do? Is there some other visualization of this that we could come up with? Also, I see chat is going faster than it's ever gone because it's still on my screen. I'm just not reading it. No, I think I'm just going to be paralyzed here. So yeah, I should probably move on from this problem. All right, I'm going to read chat, which I don't know what I should start with. First of all, hi to everybody who did not get a greeting from me. Oh boy. There was a lot in chat that I missed. Oh, interesting. Usually brute force won't work due to timeout. Yeah, so I probably should have come up with something better than this as an algorithm here. Yeah. One of those, your cat. Move on to the next one. Yeah, I still want to think about this though. So like I said, originally I'd come up with the naive approaches. I wonder still if there's a better way to do this. Because in order to even test if these things will work, I feel like I would have needed these subsets. Maybe that's not true. And this is where I was saying, whenever you get math related problems, there's always potentially a math solution and a programming solution. What's a problem statement? Yeah, I should probably make a command that has that so people can link it in. This one, non-divisible subset. Oh yeah, Redman, I actually sent an email. I don't think he'll respond to it. I actually didn't think he'd respond before I sent it, but actually now it's been like a week and a half, so I'm pretty sure he won't. I also don't know why, if I were him, I wouldn't have even opened up my emails to people. One wrong question will give you the impression that you don't know programming. Yeah, I don't know why I'm so bad at this in an interview environment though. That's another thing I gotta think of here is like how do I function as a developer and give such a bad impression during interviews? It means one of two things. Well, no, a few things, I guess. It could mean that there's pressure, which, like I said, this is very similar to an interview environment in that there are a lot of eyes on me and people are thinking, like, oh, here's how I do it, or here's what he's doing wrong, or here's where he's getting stuck. So it's pressure that interviews may not be representative of day to day dev work. And the third is I'm an idiot. Now, I'm inclined not to believe this one, trying to be more positive as of late. So I think it's these two things combined, and I don't think this one matters. So I think this is the only one that I've never practiced on stream before like this. Look for companies to do code interviews on your own time. I actually dislike those even more than I dislike whiteboard coding, because the way I see it is if a company is going to make me spend my own time interviewing and they're not going to be part of that process, that it's not worth interviewing for companies like that. One thing I realized, you're testing the sum of any two numbers. You can throw the initial array into a set since you only care about unique sums. Yeah, actually, ES6 has sets now, right? Yeah, they do. Which I guess I was gonna say, even if I didn't have that, I could I could have just made an object and use its keys as a set. Didn't I go through similar interview processes? Yeah, and so the way that I generally did this before, there's a book I have called Cracking the Coding Interview. And I would just go through the problems and try coding it out myself. And then if I ever got stuck though, they had an explanation of like, okay, here's how you should go through the problem. And I'd use that to guide me back to the right path. So I think that helped. And then you start to see patterns between problems. Like you realize when you need sorting, when you need a tree, when you need anything else. And then yeah, like I said, I don't feel like this is needed at a job necessarily. So all that stuff eventually leaves. You're using the Crack the Coding Interview book too. Yeah, stealing the code, then not hire you. Yeah. I, I think those are for the very long problems because it's unlikely that in about an hour you can do anything that's going to be useful to the company. All right, so I guess maybe this means we should stick to easy problems. But the easy problem we tried first was like just such a dead simple problem that it made me think I should try the medium ones. But yeah, let's keep going with the easy ones. There's probably did it already filter this? There are probably ones that are harder than whatever I had done at first. Hey, Relio. The top of your hair is getting clipped. Might want to aim your webcam a bit higher. Yeah, it all depends on where I'm sitting, and I don't like it when I'm like too far back that it looks like I'm slouching. Why not look at the editorial? I want to think about it some more later. Yeah. Okay, so we've solved these. Let's go to this one, a very big sum. My eyes are still drying out. All right, let's go click the button. Okay, so playing with scissors, while you're here, do you mind updating the whatever command you had for the current problem? Although actually, maybe it should only be done if it's been a while. I don't know, maybe not. But yeah, I'm going to go back to not reading chat for a bit. So calculate and print the sum of the elements in an array, keeping in mind that some of those integers may be quite large. Complete a very big sum function in the editor below. Must return the sum of all array elements. So our goal is to just print the sum. And we know that this could go out of bounds. Okay. So basically we need to make our own big int. These are integers, right? Yeah. Yeah. So we just need to make our own big int, which is typically backed by arrays. So I guess let's go do that. So this, I don't know, we'll say like hacker rank. And I'll save this one as, what was the other one called? Non-divisible subset. Non-divisible subset.js. Okay, then we'll also save this one as a very big sum. Okay, so we need to write a function, a very big sum, that returns this. So let's keep track of, so we'll still want a sum, but in this case, it's going to be an array. And we could make a class out of this, some like big int. We got to make sure that doesn't already exist. Oh, it does. Oh, well, we could just use big ints then, I guess. But I don't think that's the point of this. I think the point is to write it ourselves, right? Is this a thing you can just do? Big int is not a constructor. What is big int? 5n? Well, that's not going to work. I guess you make it from a string if you want a really long number. Yeah. And then this should just have infinite precision with integers. Yeah. Okay. So technically, if we wanted to do this ourselves really easily, we could just do this. But like I said, I don't think that's the point. So we'll make like my big int. All right. And its constructor is going to take in the like starting value. And we should probably just treat this as a string. Okay, so let I equals 0, I is less than starting value dot length plus I. So we need to get digit equals parse int starting value I 10. So this gives us our digit, and then we need like this dot digits equals just an array. So we're iterating over this like this, so we should just be able to do this dot digit dot push digit. Okay, so let's start with that. And then let's say const my big int equals new my big int 1, 2, 0, 5. And then just stringify its digits. And close out of this. Hacker rank node. What is it called? A very big sum. Okay, so that worked. Good. So what we're going to do is we're going to say sum equals new my big int. There we go. So it's going to be 0. And then we're going to iterate over everything in the array. I equals 0. I is array dot length plus I sum dot add. Now these are regular integers. But I don't know if 10 to the 10th is smaller than max safe int in JavaScript. So max, I don't remember how you even access max safe int. Just keeps doing that. MDN JavaScript max safe int. And Farrah, welcome back. Thank you for the half year. Oh, 2 to the 53. Okay, so which one's bigger? 2 to the 53 or 10 to the 10? 2 to the 53. All right, so then we don't need to do anything. We can just add regular numbers here. There, and then return sum. And then we just need an add function that takes in an integer. And it's going to do the same general thing that we had here. So now we need to give in two arrays of integers, add them together. Well, we don't actually add this into an array. So first we need to do that. And actually the way we can do that is kind of by cheating. So we could do this. We could say other big int equals new my big int, and then just do an interpolated string of I. That'll actually work. And then we say return. So this will be like add JavaScript number. Well, add JavaScript in. And this would be like add big int. Other big int. Oh, let's just go with that. Okay, return this dot add big int. Other, this turns into this. All right, now this is, so let's say we have a number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have another number 1, 2, 3. So we're going to start from the right and keep track of a carry here. And we only want to iterate so far as, actually, if we put the least significant digit first, it kind of makes this easier to iterate over, but it doesn't really matter. I don't see this problem being as hard as the other problem because this is just a matter of the iteration that we want to do. So we'll say like min size, math.min, this dot digits dot length, other dot digits dot length. Yeah. So I equals min size minus 1, I is greater than or equals 0. So op1 is going to be this, and op2 is going to be this. And the sum is going to be op1 plus op2. And so what we'll do is we need another big int here representing 0, I guess. Sum, or like big int, sum new my big int 0. Good. Or this could just be an array. Yeah, we'll say like sum digits. Okay, then over here, so we have a sum, so we're going to say sum digits dot push sum %10, and then we have a carry, and if sum is greater than 9, then carry equals 1. How about this? There. Okay, and then we also add in a carry, and that's pretty much it. And so now we'll be at the end of one of the arrays, potentially both, and whichever one was the maximum size, we need to keep going and put those things into. Alternatively, we just go to the max size with all of this and don't compare. So we say something like I is less than this dot digits dot length, otherwise 0, and then same thing here. And Jake, welcome back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, I think we got it. Return some digits. So this is going to return everything as an array, and we need it to be, actually, what format do we need it to be in? I guess a string, because otherwise we can't render it. Which, just by doing this, it should turn it into a string? No, it won't. Not the way I want it to. This plus 1, 2, 3, I think puts commas in there too, right? Yeah, okay, so then we need to iterate over it. That's fine. So return, is there a reduce function by default? There is. Okay, just copy paste this. So return sum digits dot reduce. So we want an accumulator and the current value. Well, how do you specify the starting reducer value? Oh, there. Okay. Otherwise, I was going to say this is impossible. So Q plus current value, and then just an empty string, and I think that'll work. All right, well, let's try it. So a very big sum, let's just say console.log, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it should be 15, and it shouldn't test really anything. Digit 0. Oh man, I messed up a bunch of stuff. Oh, the way I intended for this to work is that it would modify the digits currently in this. How do I get any code done? Seriously. Like... All right, I shouldn't be asking questions like that. Whatever. I just don't do well in interviews. That's what I should say for now. And we're going to get better at that. But it's amazing that I managed to write any code. All right, so instead of returning a new one, we want to modify the current one, which is just going to be this. In which case, this dot digits we don't really need. We would just modify it here. Or set them. Doesn't matter. Some digits. Yeah, and then here we'll say like toString. Okay, how's that? It's probably better at least. No, it's not. All right, let's debug this too. Again, I'm purposely not reading chat. I will take a look at some point. All right, so our array contains what it should. Our sums digits is 0, as it, I guess, should be. Yeah, and then we call into this add int. So the other big int should be, oh, no, that's broken. Which means that my constructor's probably broken here. Or wait, what? No, I is 1. Wait a sec. What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to add 1 to this thing. No, I guess that is fine. So then, no, this is fine too. Okay, there's no problem yet. So other has 1, and then this one, this dot digits, should be 0. So the sum of 0 and 1 is 1. How did I mess that up? Oh my god. There's 0 and 1. Okay. 0 plus 1 plus 0 is 1. And then we push 1% 10. Yup. Good. And then the carry doesn't matter because we're outside of the array now, right? And then digits equals some digits. Yeah. What did I do wrong? That part's right, I guess. So now we go into the next addition that we have, which is here, and we're going to add 1 to 2. Was this correct this whole time? And I don't think so. I think it got set to 0. So now this should be 2. Good. And then we go and we add 1 and 2. Is that correct? Yeah, 1. All right. I don't know. I must have messed up something really basic. Yeah, so this is 3. All right. Let's just skip out of this. So then we return the sum. So let's go to here. It says digits 5. What? Was this even correct in each iteration? This is quite interesting. Definitely interesting. Orange Ray, welcome back. Thank you for the 2.5 years. Okay, let's just make sure sum is what I expect it to be every time. Oh wait, I can't do it that way. We need to do it as sum dot digits, and maybe also, I guess, sum dot. Oh, come on, I gotta expand that. Sum dot toString. Okay, 0, 1, 3, 6. Oh, I see. Okay, so I did mess up toString. Or I messed up this. So I'm pushing these in the wrong order. Yeah, that's why. Yeah. I want to do, oh, I don't remember what it's called. I think it's splice. JavaScript insert at beginning of array. I think we just splice an element there. Use unshift. Oh, okay, fine. No, I'm still messing up. Oh man. All right. Yeah, let's find out. Okay, so the first time this is called, it's not until we get to 4 that it actually matters. There we go. All right, so now our sum is going to be 10, right? Yeah. And now I currently have sum digits is nothing. So we're going to unshift a 0. No, I was actually correct that time. Oh, if the carry was set, I just never added the carry at the end. That's why. So I think this was actually correct. No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. If carry. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I was right. It was push. Oh, because I'm working from the end of the array. Yeah. I forgot about that. All right, well then this is correct. So this is 15. So that's probably the whole problem. I'll just let it run. Yeah. We'll just go copy paste this in. Man, I'm not happy with any of this. Yeah. Definitely not happy with any of this. It keeps scrolling back up while it's saying processing. Okay, wrong answer. My output is definitely wrong. Okay, probably good for me to test larger numbers. So let's add 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. Yeah, that's definitely off. Oh, I think I know why though. I think it's because it's adding. This has 1 digit, which is set to 0, and something in here is going wrong. So I'm guessing even just this part would be incorrect. Yeah. So what did I do wrong here? The digits are just backwards, but I don't know if they're always going to be backwards. Yeah, it certainly looks like it. Yeah, okay. Maybe that'll work. So if I type in 1001, 2001, 3001. Okay, let's try that now. Oops, I didn't mean to hit submit. I meant to hit run code. Why does submitting run super fast, but run code takes forever? It's instantaneous. Also, yeah, what could this possibly be doing? Shouldn't it just run this on my own system? Oh, hey, that worked. So there's some case that submit code does that isn't working right. So do I learn what test case 1 is? Hidden test case. Unlock this for 5 tacos. Okay, well, I can just figure out the test case myself. Let's try different amounts of digits. 465. Yeah, that's wrong. It should be 357. All right. I gotta figure out what I'm doing wrong in this process. As in, I'm just going about this so poorly that I think there's basically no interview question I'll ever get correct. All right, well, let's debug it again. And then, yeah, I'll have to figure out where I'm approaching problems wrong. So let's see. We start by falling into this. I is equal to 12. That's impossible. Oh, no. I is the number I passed in. Never mind. That's not impossible. So does that get set correctly? Yeah, 1 and 2. Okay, so we go into here. Max size should be 2. Yep. Then we go to this. So we're adding 0 to 2. and we get an answer of 2, of course. And then we set it there. Good. Yep, that's fine. And now it should be 1. Sum should be 1. Yep. And then we unshift so that we have 12. Yeah. So sum digits is correct there. Then it messes up in the next number. So this is now 345. And I think I know what's going to go wrong here. Are these correct? There should be 5 plus 2. And it's 5 plus 0. Yeah, okay. I see what it did wrong. Okay. So what I need to do is this. And then over here, we're going to say this is, hang on a sec. Going to do the last number plus the other last number. So yeah, it's going to be this minus 1 minus I. All right, and then since we're starting at the last number, no, I don't know. Let's just try that. Okay, yeah, I think that worked. Oh God. uh, oh wait, what am I doing? Run code. That's not going to do anything. No, I'm still failing something. Okay. The other thing that I'm wondering here is, okay, I obviously need to get better at interview questions, but I wonder if this also indicates that I have some like core deficiency in development, and I'll need to figure that out too. Yeah, because that's possible. Okay, so let's debug this. We need to find a test case where this is broken. Let's start with this one. I want to see. It should be the exact same answer. Yeah, good. And what if we add 0 to a number? So 500, 0. Yeah, that works. And we should be able to swap the order of this. Addition is commutative. Yep. What else did we not try? Let's try a bunch of carries, I guess. I don't actually know if that's the right answer. No, yeah, this is totally wrong. 999981. Well, we have all the right digits. They're just not in the right order. So let's try just 9 plus 9. Yeah, I think 9 plus 9 is this. Presumably because we're not unshifting to carry anymore. There we go. All right. Let's unshift that as well. All right, this sucked. I am feeling uneasy problems. Yeah, this is really bad. All right, I guess let me read chat now. Unfortunately, I don't remember where chat started. Okay, there it is. No one shares the inner monologues. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I don't think this is something. The only where did chat just go? What happened? Yeah, okay. This is something where unless you're a hiring manager and you interview someone who clearly has never practiced, you'd never see this. Because when are you ever asking your friends like, "Hey, want to do a mock interview even though you're not looking for a job?" How have you not been getting straight job offers after all the public work you've done? I have. I started being incredibly picky with the job hunt. And so there were a lot of job offers. I just didn't go with them. And I still kind of want to seek out what's going on. Do you get these questions if you apply for a senior position? I don't know. I only did one technical interview and it went very, very poorly. And it was this kind of question. And it went roughly what you're seeing here, which is, it's bad. But yeah, it all depends on the company. is this just for the stream, or do you have an interview coming up? It's just for the stream for right now. I don't have an interview coming up. I I really I really kind of botched this whole process for a lot of reasons, but I think the number one reason is that I didn't determine what I actually wanted. And you can't, unless you stumble on what you want, it's very hard for you to just like blindly go pursue something. So I applied to a bunch of jobs and I just didn't want any of them really. And actually, there was one that I think was pretty good, but they never contacted me back, and I never contacted them back, and I didn't. Yeah, I don't plan on contacting them back. Um, so that was problem number one, is I didn't really know what I want. Problem number two is I really, really thought my resume basically said, "Look at my portfolio," and then I proceeded to not write my portfolio on my resume because I thought, oh, the whole thing is pretty much just look at my portfolio. Oh, by the way, if you want my work history, here it is. And then no one looked at my portfolio because I think a lot of the people in charge of hiring were like, I'm just going to look at the resume. That's what's in front of me, right? So what I had to do is I had to turn my portfolio into my resume, which, man, that kind of sucks. The interviewing process is one of the times you don't get feedback on why something went wrong. So like companies were probably rejecting me because they were like, this guy's resume looks practically blank. And they won't tell me that though. So I don't know. Maybe they did go look at my portfolio and they just didn't like what they saw. And then I had weird things happen too. Like someone looked at Botland, and I promise you this is real. They said this looks like it was made in Unity, and then just didn't move on and said, yeah, sorry, we're not going to move forward with the hiring process. And I had to ask him, wait, why? And that's when he said the Unity comment, and I'm like, that was not made in Unity. And honestly, even if it was, like, it's probably still be a very large undertaking. All right, let's keep reading. Did he quit his part-time job? What were we talking about? I don't know who you're talking about. Because if you're talking about me, I never had a part-time job. Botland is 100% outsourced. uh, and why create a class for this? It seems over-engineered. Just made sense to me. It's fine. I mean, you might argue that the function calls are unnecessary, but other than that, a class is just going to be syntactic sugar for putting stuff into the prototype of a JavaScript object. Add a reverse array at the end. Yeah, I guess I could have done that actually. So let's see. Did that too. Dump the portfolio on a second page. Some companies have strict rules against opening external links. Wait, really? Oh man, if that's the case and they couldn't even open them, that's something I never even considered. Uh, yeah. Yeah, playing with scissors. I've since asked several software engineers to look over my resume. I asked like five or six who were working at various companies like Amazon and Microsoft, and they gave me a lot of feedback, and I went and revamped it. Now I think my resume is fine. I made an assumption originally, and there was nothing to correct that assumption. So like, let's say you're writing code, and you say return x plus y, and you're like, assume these are integers. At some point, if they're strings, let's say, you'll either get a type error, or if the language allows it, you'll just add the two strings and it'll concatenate them, and then your assumption will be corrected, and you'll have a bug in your code, right? But I feel like in the interview process, you don't have those assumptions getting corrected. Oh, nice, Orange, eh? Congrats. Okay, so let's keep going. I actually, you know what? Wait, before we keep going, let me try something else here. I want to see, I think this is incredibly dumb to exploit what a language gives you, but I want to try it anyway. In fact, we could just try it. We could just try it here, right? Function add a very big sum, I guess. Sorry, I just want to see. I'm pretty sure this will work. If we had just said big int 0, and then sum. How do you actually add to it? A plus equal 1. Cannot mix big int and other types. Use explicit conversions. Oh, okay, that's very simple. So we could have just done this. Sum plus equal big int. Like I said, this is totally cheating, like 100% cheating. But this should work. And honestly, this is what you would do in the real world, right? You'd never write big int yourself if the language provides it. Never do that. So if we run this, it should pass the one test case they had. Yeah. And then presumably if I hit submit code, it'll work. I don't know if that, I mean, let's click it. Yeah. So this is what you'd write in production. You'd never write your own big int unless it didn't exist. And that's it. It would take you 3 seconds, like how it took here. And this is why I don't think the interview process is representative of the development process. What font am I using? I got the font command. It's the hack font, but it's got a link to it. It says use long in the C++ in the instructions. Oh, then maybe they didn't mean for it to be cheating. It's just making you think about max sizes. Okay. It's only cheating if that's the direct problem. If it's not the direct problem, I don't see a problem. No, Naira, this one in particular wouldn't work because one of the things that they tell you is that the number can be up to 10 to the 10th. And you wait. Maybe that actually would work. I don't remember what the constraints of the problem were, but I think the point was that it might exceed max safe integer in JavaScript. And so this actually has bitten me before in production code. What was it? It was a Steam ID, I think. Yeah, in fact, I think I have this written down in crazy bugs I found and how I fixed them. Is this here? Yep, this. So there was a Steam ID. Check it out. Look what happens when you type this into JavaScript. This number, you hit enter, and you can see it ends in 797, but here it ends in 800. That's because of integer precision and that this is beyond the maximum safe integer. So despite that Steam IDs look like they should be numbers in JavaScript, they actually cannot be represented by numbers in JavaScript. And this caused a problem that was so difficult to track down. And this, I mean, the obvious thing that it taught me is, of course, figure out if your language can represent all of the potential IDs that you might have. But yeah, this was a production bug that I hit, and I even had the date that I hit it. August 5th of last year. So it wasn't very long ago. And the fix is dead simple. You just turn this into a string, and now JavaScript can represent it. But if you don't realize that that's even a problem, then you won't do anything about it. So let's move on. Let's move on to another problem. Yeah, maybe the easy problems are too easy if you're allowed to just do this. Where are the other easy ones? They're all of these? Okay. There was a, oh, this is just an add. Okay. Fine. So diagonal difference. So let's click solve challenge. Whoops. Nope. Want that in a new tab. Get back on medium. I don't feel confident enough to work on medium problems yet. If all the easy ones are that easy, then yeah, we probably will have to switch. Did they send Steam ID as a number? I'm not actually sure. Let me look at the Steam API docs. But it all depends on what, where are the Steam API docs? Steam, no, I don't have that. This might work. No, this isn't it. Steam, no, it's not that either. This one. Web API. Obtaining a user's Steam ID. They say a unique 64-bit Steam ID. User authentication and ownership. Anyway, it's in here somewhere. I don't remember where the specific API was listed. Yeah, I'm not gonna search for this because I don't remember what it was probably this one. It's probably in here somewhere. Yeah, it was a string. Okay, yeah. And if that's the case, then that was my bad for reading the documentation wrong. Although I'm I don't know what it looked like back then. What interview am I prepping for? Nothing in particular. I just figured it was a good idea to do this on stream, so we're gonna do it. Okay, let's go back to this. Let's go back to JavaScript. All right, and then I'm gonna not read chat again when I look over this. So given a square matrix, calculate the absolute difference between the sums of its diagonals. Oh, okay. So add 1, 5, and 9, add 9, 5, and 3, and then do math.abs of the difference between them. This doesn't seem too crazy. So the first line contains a single integer n. Do they give me this in the... It doesn't matter if they give it to me. It's the square root of the size. So fine, let's just go write this thing. All right, so we'll save this. This is a very big sum cheating. And then we'll save this one as diagonal difference. Put a link to the problem in here. I don't know how that got there. And then write your code in here. Okay, so we'll say like square size equals math.square root array dot length. So if the array is length 9, then the size of the square is 3. And the reason this is necessary is so that we know how big the diagonal is. So now we go let 0 I is less than square size plus I. This should be very simple, right? Diagonal sum 1, diagonal sum 2. So when we're iterating over this, we want a diagonal sum 1 plus equal array. So now here's where this, let's think of a square. Think of your favorite square, everybody. So we're going to do this. And now, because that was dumb, we're going to subtract 1 from all of these. Because that way we have actual array indices. There. So we're going to do 0, 4, 8, and 6, 4, and 2. And so we know this because we have sort of an x coordinate and a y coordinate. So let's write it down as such. Not that we need to do this. We could eventually just replace it with straight up math. So for the first diagonal, we'll say this is in this direction, and this is in this direction. Now that's a comment. We got arrows. So the x for this is going to always just be I, and the y for this is always going to be is always going to increase by 1. So we can say I% square size. And then we just say y times square size plus I plus x. Okay, there's that one. And then we want the exact same thing over here. Okay, so in this one, x is also I and y is the opposite of this. So square size minus this. And that's it. And then what are we supposed to return? Math.abs diagonal sum 1 minus diagonal sum 2. I think that's the whole function. I think that's what we have to do. I'm not even going to test this. I'm just going to let them test it. Wrong. All right, your output is not a number and expected 15. No, I think they're the ones who are wrong. I think not a number is the answer. All right, let's debug this then. So diagonal difference, we're going to pass in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And node diagonal difference. Yeah, not a number. All right, so now let's break in. Let's back to break. Should already have this open. Yep, now we'll get to here. All right, so square size should be 3. Good. Now we're going to start it. Oh, yeah, no, that's right. So x is 0, y should be 0. Yep, and let's get rid of these, x, y, and diagonal sum. Okay. So x, did that work? Yeah, that worked. All right, then we have the other way. So y is 3. Oh, whoops, y should have been 2. So I got to subtract 1 from this. Yeah, whoops. That's not even the right problem. Where'd the right problem go? 0, is that correct? 6, 4, 2 is 12, and 12. Okay, yeah, so in this case, it's probably correct. Yeah, I just forgot the -1. I think that's the only problem. No. Heck. All right, let's keep going. What's the test case they're using? They have negative numbers as well. So let's put all these here. There we go. What happens when I run this? I get 15. I'm saying my output is not a number then. Am I not returning something I'm supposed to be returning? Print the absolute difference. Am I supposed to return that though? Yeah, no, they do that. Why? And it expected 15. Mine printed 15. I'm missing something very basic here. Yeah, that's... I have the same input as they do, and I have different output. And I copy pasted, right? Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't actually know what the difference is just between the code in my own on my own computer and what they have is. I wonder if you can debug in this. Let's print out, maybe we can, console log array. Maybe this is different from what I expect, but I don't know where we get the output of this. Debug output, here it is. Oh, they're internal arrays. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, the format of the input is different from what I expected. Oh, and that makes this a little bit different. So let's paste this in instead. Okay, so now it's an array of arrays. I thought they were just representing the matrix as a single array, but that's because I didn't read the problem. that's totally on me. So we have the X and Y still, and now here's where this will change. So Y, and then we don't need to do times square size X. I guess the same thing here. Y, X. Messed up still. Wait. So I'm out of bounds here, which should be impossible. Oh, because now the square size is totally wrong. Now it's just the length of the array. Yeah. Okay, so let's just Control Z all this. I want my solution that I had still. This is because this is working when it's an array, and then the square size is just array.length. Yeah. Okay. This will work. But again, this is some indication that I'm just doing everything in a very circuitous way because these are not supposed to be difficult problems. Yeah, I think this is fine. Man, it's such a shame. I got to figure out what I'm doing wrong there. This was caused by me not reading the question. So I should have read that. Yeah, okay, there. Yeah, that was silly. It's just silly. Okay, now let me read chat. It randomly scrolls sometimes. Hey, Spambot. Challenge read start here for future ads. Thanks, Android. Yeah, it was always a square matrix. Yep. Advise against using I. It's not human readable and be considered bad practice. I is totally fine. Most people use it as an iterator. And sometimes it literally just, it is an iterator. It doesn't necessarily, like you could, anyway, I don't think that's a problem. What does your math function do if you pass in strings? So probably something very weird, but from what I heard from other people, you're not in charge of validating input here. I feel like input validation is important for production, and it's one of the few things that's like never touched in interview questions other than to say, oh yeah, by the way, I would do this. But if you have to validate every single function, they're like, okay, you have an integer and a floating point number, and you had to validate like, is this really an integer? Is this really a floating point number? And I think you get annoying. Yeah. By the way, I do know you guys are saying comments to me as I'm doing this. I'm intentionally not reading chat. I'm trying to do this in isolation and just kind of make this public. I know it's weird because the whole point of Twitch is interaction, but it's like bursts of interaction. Do you believe I can get better by copying code that's used in tutorials? I think you can only, if you're just learning, then the answer is pretty much no. I think you should be typing it out. But if you already know how to code and you know how to look up syntax for things, I don't think it's going to matter as much because you'll be learning more about concepts and not about language. So remember, when you first start out, you're learning the language and you're learning the concepts at the same time. And that's why I think it's important to type it. At some point, you're eventually only really going to be learning concepts. And the language is going to be something where, honestly, even if you return to a language you learned 4 years ago, you're probably going to forget the syntax and need to look things up. That's what I do, as evidenced by when I used Java for the first time in like 7 years, a couple months ago. Just in general, JWL. The percent square size doesn't need to be there. Yeah, it probably doesn't need to be there now that we have the other arrays, but I think it was needed originally, right? Yeah, it was needed originally back when we had the length of like 9. But okay, so let's move on to the next one. Plus minus. Try using paint. Try using paint to solve these. I don't remember the context of this. Interview prep as job interview? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, let's move on. Again, not going to read chat for this time. Let's go back to here. All right, this time we're going to read the whole problem. So given an array of integers, calculate the fractions of its elements that are positive, negative, and are zeros. Print the decimal value of each fraction on a new line. This challenge introduces precision problems. The test cases are scaled to 6 decimal places, though answers with absolute error of up to 10 to the negative 4 are acceptable. For example, given an array of 1, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 1, there are 5 elements, 2 positive, 2 negative, 1, 0. The ratios would be 2 over 5, 2 over 5, and 1 over 5. So we got to print it positives, negatives, zeros. Okay, so now where'd our code go? No idea. Here. So this is called plus minus. Plus minus.js. Okay, and we get a function with an array. And we have to, what, print or return? Should print out the ratio, each on a separate line. Okay, print positive, negative, 0. Positive, negative, and then 0 ratios. Okay, this sounds like it's really simple. Num positive is 0, num negative is 0, num 0 is 0. And then we just iterate over. And we say if element is less than 0, num neg plus plus, num 0 plus plus, else num pos plus plus. Okay, and then we just print out each thing. So it's got to be positive. Well, actually, this could just be array.length. Pos divided by total, then negative, then 0. I think that's the function. Again, I'm not going to test this here. We'll just run it. Okay, that one was really dumb. I don't think there's anything interesting that this adds from the other ones. But yeah, fine. I'll read chat again. Yeah, not much chat happened in that time. Would advent of code be a good way to practice for challenge? Probably. Is this... is 1 the easy one or the hard one? Yeah, advent of code might be good. You can write this in here, it'll be proud. A yearly problem set of 25. I think it's always 25 problems, right? Because it's supposed to be like the advent calendars. Where did the chat go? Let's see. Better than lead code? Some of them are just plain stupid and badly explained. I don't know. So far, HackerRank seems fine to me. Yeah. Did I expect these problems to be easier? You mean all of them? Like, the reason I don't think this problem is a good problem is because of the problems that come before it, but I don't know how HackerRank works. Are they user submitted problems? Are they curated? Are you supposed to solve them in order? Because if you're just supposed to pick one of these out, then this is totally fine as a problem. But I don't think it's fine given that all the last ones kind of covered the same general thing. This one doesn't really add anything. But this is probably not supposed to be treated like a tutorial, I guess. Day 1 is easy. Okay. Yeah. Okay, well then, yeah, I guess let's go back to medium problems. So their list of medium problems is much smaller. So let's try this one, I guess. Oh, did I expect it? I only tried one and I didn't solve it. So let's see if this is any better, I guess. This is not it. This is it. Oh, this is a very long explanation. I don't think I want to. I guess I should try it. Fine. I don't think I should be very picky about what questions I'm doing here. Start with mediums, have a high success rate. But if the success rate's like 95%, doesn't that mean that it's not worth doing? Can you redo challenges if you fail them? Yeah, you can. What's the difference between JavaScript node and regular JavaScript? Probably just import structure. Oh, they don't even have regular JavaScript. So I think they're just saying they're running it on Node as opposed to running it in your browser. This is one of the languages that actually could run on your own machine. Although they probably don't want to do that in case, I don't know, you copy paste code from the internet or something. They'll still generally be quite harder than easies. Well, let me try this. Maybe I'm just going to kind of fail at both of these, but I feel like I should be able to do this stuff. Climbing the leaderboard. It might not end up that way. And maybe it's better to get more momentum. There. All right, so I'm not going to read chat. Let's see. Alice is playing an arcade game and wants to climb to the top of the leaderboard and wants to track her ranking. The game uses dense ranking. I don't know what that is. Oh, okay, got it. So if there's a tie, people get the higher number and then the next available number is used. There's a lot of different kinds of rankings. I need to learn about this for Botland. Yeah. All right, player with the highest score is ranked number 1. Player of equal score receives the same ranking. Next player receives the next rank. Yep. For example, 4 players on the leaderboard have high scores of 100, 90, 90, and 80. So they get 1, 2, 2, 3. Alice's scores are 70, 80, and 105. Her rankings after each game are 4th, 3rd, and 1st. 4th, 3rd, and 1st. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, wait, no. Doesn't make sense, right? Because then the scores would be 100, 90, 80, 70, and 105. So in this order, it'd be she get first, fourth, and fifth. I don't know about that. Yeah. Well, players on the leaderboard have high scores of 190, 90, and 80. No, yeah. All right, I'm gonna read chat because this isn't making sense. After each game in that order. Oh. Okay, okay. All right. I get what you guys are saying. So you basically she gets a 70 and then her place is going to be fourth. And like full stop. And now she gets an 80 and her place is going to be third. Okay, never mind that. All right, I'm gonna go back to not reading chat. Yeah, that makes sense. So complete the climbing leaderboard function in the editor below. It should return an integer array where each element res j represents Alice's rank after the jth game. So then this is kind of what this is probably why it was good to interpret this the way that we did. All right, climbing leaderboard has the following parameters: scores, an array of integers that represent leaderboard scores, and Alice, an array of integers that represent Alice's scores. And I'm guessing that's after each game again. Turn an integer array where it represents that after. Okay, so input format. The first line contains. I don't know why they tell me this for JavaScript because they handle this stuff. So scores is in descending order. Alice is in ascending order. Always? Why? So she always gets better and better as she plays? Okay. And then subtask for 60% of the maximum score. I don't know what that part means. Yeah, I don't understand that. Maybe we can just ignore that. Print m integers. The jth integer should indicate Alice's rank. Okay. So we are printing from this. So I think I understand the problem. So sample input. So we have a leaderboard here, and we get these, and our output. Okay, so the very first thing we would do, let's just look at this. So first thing we would do is come up with what are the places. So here are the places. And now Alice gets a 5. So she's in last place. Good, that makes sense. Then she gets a 25. So I wonder if this gets added here. Oh, they're always in ascending order, so that should never be a problem. Unless, no, yeah, it should never be a problem. That's probably why they did that then. Okay, so then she gets a 25, which gets put here. And then she gets a 50, which gets put here and puts her into, no, it ties her for second place. And then she gets 120. Okay, so I think I understand this. Yeah, and this is why the explanation was so long. Oh, okay. So this is here. So we need this function. And the comments would probably be helpful too. And I'm supposed to just print Alice's rank after each game. And so basically the algorithm is this. If it's the lowest score, her rank is scores.length. If it's above any, or if it's tied with any scores, her rank is that score's rank. And if it's above any scores, her rank is the rank is that score's rank plus 1. So something like this. So I think the first thing we should do is try to come up with what is the dense, what do they call it? Dense ranking? Because let's think about that. We have an input of, so input's going to be like 100, 150, 40, 40, 20, 10. And the dense ranking is going to be, I guess I'd think of it like an object. And I don't know which direction is going to be better here. 2 will be 50, 3 would be 40, 4 would be 20. So this direction wouldn't matter because this is just an array that I'm making, so I guess it has to be the other way. But we could do it that way then, I guess. 100, 50, 40, 20, 10. All right, so then thinking about this, let's say we had the dense ranking already. How would we work with Alice's scores? So input scores is this. Input Alice is this, 5, 25, 50, 120. So we have this, and we just basically figure out the index of the array this is supposed to belong in. This does not seem like it's that tough. In fact, like Lodash has functions for a function for figuring out where this thing should go, which I would probably want to use a binary search to make it log n, but I'm not going to do it first. So yeah, let's try this. So let's get the dense ranking first. Get dense ranking. So the scores are already, these are already descending. So this shouldn't be too bad. So first we're going to need clone array. So I don't modify the original score. Actually, it doesn't really matter if I modify the original scores. In fact, it also doesn't really matter if I make a function for this. But I want to. So first clone the array. So scores equals, or like dense ranking equals scores dot map. Okay, so there's a clone of it. And then we need to iterate over it. I equals 0 is less than dense ranking dot length plus I. So for each score that we have, what I want to do is I want to say if dense ranking I equals dense rank, oops, yeah, that's fine. I plus 1, we want to remove the next one. So dense ranking dot splice I plus 1, 1. And this should work, I think. Well, let's try it. So now we have our input scores. And we want to make sure that it matches the dense rankings that we have. So we're going to do console.log get dense ranking with that. And what's this called? Leaderboard? Fine. So 100, 50, 40, 20, 10. 150, 40, 20, 10. Yeah, so that works. Now let's try with a bunch of hundreds in a row. I want to make sure it cuts all those out too. No, it does not. So we need to keep doing this while this is true. There we go. And there, perfect, okay. So I think we have that set now. So we have a dense ranking. Now we want to get the dense ranking. And then we want to iterate over all of Alice's scores. And her score needs to now be placed in this array. So we'll get like get sorted index. So we have an array and we have an element. And we're going to do this with a linear search. Although, as I said, it's not going to be as performant as a binary search, which would be better, but I'm not going to code because it doesn't need to be coded. So this is going to be an array.length. So we know that this is sorted descending. So what we want to do is if the element that we have is greater than the current element, then return I. If the element is equal to the element, return also I guess. We can just lump that in there. And if we got to the end, I guess we just return array.length. Yeah, I think that should be fine. Okay, so now we have this. So now all we have to do is just console.log get sorted index of dense ranking and LSI, right? I think that's all. Let's test it now. So we have our climbing leaderboard function. We pass in this array and this array. And we should get, no, that's not right. And we should get the numbers that were on, I need to add 1 to all of these. 5310 is what I had. Yeah, I just need to add 1. Because they're leaderboard rankings, right? Okay, I think that's it. Then I think we're good. Runtime error. Did I just... Wait, what? Oh, it said print. It's not supposed to print. Where did I put the console.log? There it is. This is supposed to return. Okay, fine. So then what we need to do is say like, I'll just type it over here. So const, I don't know what, rankings or something. And then rankings.push whatever we had for this. And then return rankings. Yeah, that was a little bit confusing. But I think this is going to work. Code did not execute within the time limits. So they do want you to binary search? Man. Okay. Well, fine. They said you can use Lodash, right? I still don't feel like writing that function right now. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. This is the cheating way of doing things. So there's sorted index of, I believe. Yeah. And this gives array and value. Yeah, so if we do this, this will be a binary search. There. And everything else will be the same. And then I'll write a binary search for good measure. I just want to see if this really was the problem. Because if it's not, I need to think of a better way of doing all of this. Oops, what am I doing? I clicked run code, not submit code. Also, it broke. Your output 0000. Did I do that wrong? It's like index.accept performs a binary search. Oh, except for the search needs to be in the opposite order, right? Oh. Well, I mean, I guess we could reverse the whole array. Fine, I'll just run my own binary search. I won't cheat. Okay. So how do we do this? So we need to find the element that's greater than it. And we need to start halfway through the list. Search index equals array.length divided by 2, math.floor. So if array I, oh, okay, I see. I think this is really the core of the whole problem, because the point is that it's a binary search, but not for an exact match. Which is what sorted index does in the other order. So if I wanted to do this with Lodash, I could have just reversed the array, but that'd still be O of n. And the point is that an O of n operation is presumably too lengthy for this. So how are we going to do this then? Let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then like a bunch of thousands at the end or some like large number. So we always start with the middle of an array, which is roughly here. I don't know what, it doesn't matter. And let's say we're searching for the number 7. So then we go to the other like half the array. We see it's greater. We might go to here, see it's less than, go to here, see it's greater. But at that point, we've already found the bounds that we need to search for. So I guess we always need to do this in log n time, and there's no bailing out early because we don't have an exact number. I kind of want to try that. Let me see something really fast. Math.log of 1024. How do you math.ln? No, not math.log 10. What am I trying to do right now? Log 2 is what I was trying to do. Yeah, so that's what I want. So if we have 10 elements, we're going to search 4 times. I should probably verify that. Actually, let's try with something. Let's try with like 5. Yeah, 5 would be 3 searches. So something like this. No, we know as long as we keep track of what the last thing was. Because we want to find the number, let's say 3.5. Then we'd start here. We'd see that it's greater than it. So we'd jump another halfway through the list. We'd go here. We'd see that it's greater than it. And then see that we've hit something less than. Alternatively, we just always do that 3 times. No, I don't think that'll work. Also, this is sort of descending, so I should remember that. I still actually I'm still not positive if what I'm thinking in my head is going to work. That if we always jump 3 times, this will be fine. So you go here, jump over to here, then we jump over to here, and then we just compare at the end. Yeah, I'm gonna have like a million off by 1 errors if I do this. But I mean, I guess it'll kind of work. Yeah. All right, let's try. Say num searches equals math.log2 of array.length, and then the math.ceiling of that. And so we have to do that many searches, right? So we get our current search index, and we say, let's say like element of array, and this is element to search for. Search index, okay. So if element of array is greater than the element to search for, so we're looking for 3.5 and we found 4, so we need to go farther over. So now search index equals, and we need to divide the rest of the list in half. Fonda, welcome back. Thank you for resubbing. 22 months. That is the only thing I'm reading chat for right now. I'm trying to ignore chat for the rest of this, so I'm not biased by what chat is saying. I know this makes for a little bit of a weird stream because normally I try to interact with everybody, but not today. So, all right, we're somewhere and we want to go to the other like half of the list. So I guess what we could say is array.length minus search index divided by 2. And then like clamp this thing. Clamp num min max. Turn math.min number and max, and then math.max that and min. Okay, that should be clamping a number. I don't know if it's worth doing that because I could probably just have generated this in a way that won't have a problem there. Search index plus this 0 and array.length minus 1. It's probably easier if we just define the clamp function here. So now max is always going to be array.length minus 1 and min is always going to be 0. And that way we can just say clamp all of this stuff. Okay, so that's if it's greater than. If it's equal to somehow, then I guess we could actually return I, or return search index. And if it's less than, then search the other part of the list. So now this would be minus search index divided by 2. This should probably have a math.floor or math.ceiling on it. Well, no, it definitely should, but I don't know which one. So let's think of that. I guess here it had to be a math.ceiling. And here, I guess so the same way. Yeah. All right. Something like that. I don't know what this code is at the bottom. So let's see what we're doing now. Go through each search. We eventually find this, and then we return search index. So we could just break out of here. And then this code isn't needed. So is this even correct? Let's go test this out. Yeah, because I have no idea. Console.log. So we have an array in descending order. So let's say like 100, 50, 25, 12, 6, 3, 1. And we want to find where the number 4 would go. So where will it go? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd be 5. And I called this function completely stupidly. Yeah, it's 5. So I might have written this correctly. Let's just have this thing test by running it over there. All right, I gotta copy all my code. Oh, this is difficult. There we go. And then I gotta paste it in here. So does that work? 5521. Oh, I think I know what's happening here. Try. Yeah, I'll have to debug this though. Yeah. Let's debug. Should break in, right? Nope, that just took a long time. So I'm getting 5521, which means the problem's coming from here. And the problem is the very first number is wrong. Yeah, or the first 2 numbers are wrong. So the first one should be 6. Because I'm never returning a number that's less than it. Is that the only thing I didn't account for, I wonder? So we have elements to search for is 5, and the array is... Oh, whoa, no, that's... No, that is her score. Oh, yeah, so it should be 6. Okay, let's go through this then. So we start by trying to search at index 2. And index 2 is going to be number 40. 5 is less than 40, so we're going to jump into this else statement at the bottom. Wait. No, I see. I wrote this in the other way. So we're going to continue to search onward. So array.length 5 minus 2 is 3, divided by 2 is 1.5, ceiling of that is 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4, so this will be set to 4 at the end. Yep, good. Okay, now at 4 is the number 10. 10 is still greater than it, so we're going to go into this. Oh, and then I guess what we would do, we could kind of detect this as a case that we've hit the end of the array. All right, I'm gonna hard code something for that. Well, not hard code, I guess, but if search index is equal to array.length minus 1, then break. Well, actually, then search index plus plus. Because it's got to be beyond the bounds of that. We could just say return search index plus 1. And here, return search index. That's fine, it's break. Okay, now how does this work? So now we should have 6521, I guess, which is still wrong. Yeah, so now it needs to be 6421. So now we're concerned with the second part of this, the number 25. So what's happening with that number? So we're getting 5 and it needs to be 4. So let's find out. All right, so I don't care about this one. I do care about this one. So now the elements search for is 25. Yep. So, okay, so what's going to happen here? We want to find the number 4. So I'm going to start by comparing it against search index 2. So I'm going to go greater. And I'm going to end up at the wrong element again, right? Yep. So now search index is 4, I believe. Yep. And now search index 4 is 10, so we're going to go less than. Oh, wait. It's to the last point that we searched that I need to do the divided by 2. So I'm jumping too far. Okay, never mind. Yeah, this is not correct. Okay, how is this not correct then? So I need to know what it used to be. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to work. I know this is typically done recursively. I didn't set it up that way, but that's fine. So let me see if that's even correct. Search index. This won't work now, right? So what I have here is I have an array. Bravo. Hello to you too. And thanks for the resub. 1/6 of a year. So we have an array like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we wanted to find the number. Actually, let's just go with the array we really had. Yeah. Okay. So first search index is 2. We find that's greater, so we go to the second search index of 4, and then the third search index should be 3. So we would actually need to keep track of that. And so the third one is really, what, second minus first divided by 2? So if we jump to the very first one, I guess it'd be 0. Okay, so let's start this at 0 then. So this will be math.ceil of search index minus last search index divided by 2. All right, I don't know. let's try that. 6522. So I have messed up everything now. All right, I'm gonna really get in the weeds here if I keep doing this, I think. So maybe I should back out of this and do this differently. Search index minus last search index divided by 2. Oh, plus the search index that we had. Yeah. Oh, I see. Second minus first divided by 2. And this needs to be math.abs, I guess. Which still doesn't change things. Gotta rethink it. Okay, let's break in again. I don't have the right breakpoint now. There we go. Going to this again. Okay, so here's back to where we were originally. So we get to the first one, it's going to find that case. We're going to go up to 4. So now last search index. Oh, can't always be set to search index. Well, not here. It's got to be set before doing this. I messed this up. Yeah, I messed this up. I need this to be different at this point. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? Yeah, no. I'm. Oh man, I don't know why this is so hard for me to reason about. Because I don't think it should be. I just need to figure out where to set this. Yeah, I don't know. Huh. Yeah, I don't see a way for me to do this the way I've set this up. So I'm either missing it or I set it up wrong. Well, okay, let's go through this one more time. I should be 1 at this point, right? Yeah. So now we get to this case, and I want last search index to be the number it was. Maybe it's just whenever I'm going up that it needs to be that way. Let's try that. I don't know. I think this is ugly. 6521. It's still off. No. It's just that one case. let's try one last time, see if I can figure out what this is. So it goes to the first case, it sets it to 4, and whoops, oh, that's why. This is supposed to be set here. Okay, now we got 6321. So we're off in the other direction. I'm reasoning about this wrong. I have to be. But I still won't be able to tell unless I debug it again. Also, I should just set a conditional breakpoint here, so I don't need to keep doing this. Yeah, let's just put one here. Edit breakpoint element to search for equals 25. There. Now I don't need this. All right. So we go to here, it goes from 2, it goes up to 4. So at this point now, search index is 4. Good. Last search index is 2. So we're going to end up with 3. And then this is the final search that we're going to do. And we compare. So element of array is 20, and we got 25. So it's greater than it. Wait, what? Oh. I messed that up. Wait, right? It should break out after this. Now return 2. 2 wasn't even what I was seeing on the command line, was no, I messed something else up. 525. What? 6321. Oh, I'm adding 1 down here. That's right. Right. So it's a 2 that's wrong. All right, I don't know. I should probably just reform this whole function and stop thinking about it the way that I'm thinking about it. Yeah. Maybe I should look at it as start and end of the list. I'm trying to think, how would I have coded a binary search if I was just looking for an exact match? Because I think I went a step too far. So binary search with exact match would be jump to middle of list, compare numbers. If equal, return index. If less than, search first half of list, and if greater than, search latter half of list. But I'll never get to the case where they're equal in this scenario because I'm searching for 25 in this list. And I can't know that I can't know. I know how many searches it should take to find the element. But for example, when I hit 40, because that's the first thing I'm going to search, I can't just say, oh, it's less than that. I guess I could always compare the two surrounding elements. Yeah, that would work. Yeah. But then I'm doing 2 extra comparisons for every jump through this list when the only comparisons that are going to need it are going to be actually, no, maybe that's fine. Yeah, maybe we'll just do that. We'll just compare before and after. In which case, then this code all needs to change. Oh boy. So this num searches isn't really needed anymore, huh? Yeah. Wouldn't really be. We could just keep doing this because this is guaranteed to have a result. So let's try it. Get sorted index. What do we pass in? The array element to search for. And what I want to do is, and we want that like index we're searching at. Equals array dot length divided by 2, and that's mat dot floor. That'll definitely work. And we want to say if kind of the same thing I had here and this, return the search index. So if element of array is greater than element to search for. So now here's where we want to compare the surrounding elements. And then in our else case, we want to compare the surrounding ones too. So compare surrounding elements to see if we found a stop point. Okay, so how do we do this now? So if how do I want to do this? All right, let me just type something out. This is what I call design by coding, which is where I don't feel like coming up with a pattern so I write out the code for it and then figure out the pattern. So if array search index minus 1, so it's greater than it. So I guess if search index is 0, then return 0. Otherwise, we know that we'll have this, so we'll check this. So okay, what case is this? The arrays element, let's say we're in this case where the array element is 100 and we're searching for 105. No, that's a bad idea. 50 and we're searching for 75. So if this one is still greater than element to search for, then we found our result. So it's going to be search index. It's going to be search index. Otherwise, we're going to return the sorted index of the array, the element to search for, and then our search index is going to cut in half. So math dot, I think we have to say floor here, right? Yeah. Search index divided by 2. But no, this is where this is wrong. And this is where I'm missing some piece of this. Because if we get to this and then we just divide by 2, we'll end up on the left half of the list, which we already had checked. So we need some like lower bound. I guess we could just have like last pivot. I feel like I have the right ideas here, and then I'm failing at something basic. Let's see. Well, okay, let's just set this as null for a second. And I guess we'll say if last pivot is null, then last pivot equals the search index. So it's going to be on the first invocation that we're going to set this to the same thing, which is pretty much the same as just typing this out. But I need to think about that still and why this is wrong. Yeah, this is what I was struggling with the first set of invocations that I had. I know I'm onto the right idea here. At least I think I am. I think the algorithm is now sound. And I think what I'm messing up is just this part. But I think it's worth soldiering on and trying to figure this out. I can't be too far off base. Although I think this idea might be questionable. Because basically what I was trying to get at is you have this array of a bunch of elements, right? And just however you slice this. And so you jump into the kind of the halfway point, and then you jump from here, and then you want to jump from here only back to its local halfway point and not back to halfway through the whole list. So in order to know that you only want to jump to this point, you'd have to know where you jumped from originally. And so this list is just kind of shrinking as we go. And so maybe we could represent this as like start and end. It's like start index, start search index equals 0 and end search index equals array.length minus 1. I'm actually not sure you can even do this in JavaScript, or you can refer to another argument here. If you can, and if you can't, excuse me, then I can just work around this by setting it to the null. So it wouldn't be a big deal. And then we set our search index will always be start plus end divided by 2. Yep. Okay, I think that's good. And now we just change our start and end. So array elements to search for, and we're going to jump to, so we know the element is greater than it. Searching for like 25, so I want to jump farther ahead in the list. So we can just say start search index plus start search plus end minus start divided by 2. Something like that. So does this even make sense, what I've written so far? If we're at the very beginning of the array, so here, 100, and we're searching for like the number 90. I did this wrong. Oh God, I did this wrong. Yeah. This is definitely incorrect. Again, I'm not reading chat. I'm gonna read it after I get this, and I'm pretty positive I will get this. It'll just take me a little more time. Okay, so ignore this comment for now. So the element of the array is 100. We're searching for the number 90. So we have not just found our number here. So this can't be done. But over here, we could conclude that. So this was supposed to say, if it's array.length minus 1, then return array.length. I think. 5 numbers. No, this should still be minus 1. Okay, which we can probably genericize in a bit. Like I said, designed by coding. So now this, if the previous element. No, I think I just reversed this part here. Yeah, I think we should just reverse that then. and then see if this makes sense. So now we're searching for an element that's greater than this. So now this part makes sense. So we're searching for 110. We found it here. Otherwise, I guess we want to search. So let's say we're on this element. We found a 90. Then we want to return the search index we're at. Yep, sure. Otherwise, we want to search like 150. We want to search the left half of the list. So this is not correct anymore. Yeah. So our end index is going to contract. So we'll just duplicate this for lower when I need that. So this is fine. And then end in index minus, and we want to subtract, well, pretty much half the list, right? So this. Okay, otherwise, you know it's less than it. So let's do pretty much all these same things, but a little bit reversed. So this is going to be array.length minus 1, array.length minus 1. This probably won't be necessary. You can probably remove that in a bit. And then we say, so this is that the element is less than. You might as well wrap this in an if. It's not necessary because we have a return there, but I think it makes it a little bit clearer. So now we know the element to search for is less than the element of the array. So let's say we're here and we're searching for 5. We're at the end of the array, so we know that it has to be the end of the array. Otherwise, we want to check the next element. So let's say we're here and we know that it's 30. So if the index after it is less than it, then we can return that index. Yes. Otherwise, we need to contract the start. So this is probably better. Probably not perfect. And we need to check. Maybe this will work. I don't know. Let's just try it. That is not correct. Let's climb the leaderboard. So 6321. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, because I accidentally redefined the whole function. Get rid of that. Hooray! Yeah, so this is what I was thinking would happen, is that we get to a case where this number doesn't even exist and nothing's finding that it doesn't exist. So let's just stringify these things. Element to search for, element of array, and then console.log. Oh, okay, so we're searching for 5 and the element to the array is 20, which means we're there. Why did we not jump one farther? Should be this. So it's this that we're doing wrong? Mat.floor should maybe be mat.ceiling. 5421. That's not right. Hey Crows, welcome back. And what'd you miss? Nothing much. I wasn't streaming the last 3 days. I'm also not reading chat right now. I know I've been saying this repeatedly, but I'm sure there's someone in chat who's like, why isn't the streamer reading what I'm saying? But I want to try solving the interview questions myself. For some reason, I feel like I'm disproportionately struggling with easy problems, and I'm not sure what's causing that yet. So, yeah, we're going to try to find out. All right, let's see. So yeah, what I'm doing here, 5421 should be 6421. So the very first one is messing up. So it's the number, what are we searching for? Number 5. And how many elements are there? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the length is 5, so I should return 5 and it should be plus 1. So it should be this was just my mistake. Yeah, okay. I think we got it. I think. So we get rid of these. And we paste in all of this stuff now. And I think my original solution worked, and the problem was just that I wasn't doing a binary search. So let's submit and see if we got it. Yay, we did it. Okay. All right, let me read chat now. Let me scroll up to wherever the top is. Oh, is it even there in chat anymore? Where's Endoran's message? Okay, thanks, Endoran. By the way, a point for you. Okay. First scores was set, then it's all unique. Position of the array would along the rank. Oh yeah, that's another. Yeah, I got to remember to use set for some reason. Since it wasn't part of ES5 and I never used it then, that when I started using ES6, I'm like, I probably shouldn't use set. But yeah, I think that's one of the things. I should definitely write down my learnings. Yeah, write down what you learn as you go through this. All right, so what I learned is I should use set more frequently for when I need unique values, e.g. dense leaderboard rankings. All right. Let's see. Now it feels like Adam is thinking. Why is ranking concept you're changing? It's how how JavaScript works. So when you say something like this, you basically think about it in a C++ way, saying the pointer to this array is not changing, but the array contents are free to change. It works that way with objects as well. Is part of your interview. I ironed this shirt, M. Perry. Okay, I spent a lot of time. It takes me still forever to iron shirts, and I'm still doing it. Yeah, thanks, Endor, for linking the theme too. Made it to the color message. Now you lost all your points. So these are the things, this whole upper bound and the lower bound. I think if I had done any prep by just like looking at people's solutions so far, I would have seen this and remembered, oh yeah, this is how you solve this stuff. And by the way, again, this is why I say this is why interview problems are not representative of what you do in the real world. In the real world, I'd probably search like binary search implementation. Or to be honest, you know what I would do? We know sorted index stuff is what I need. So I would just click this button. Done. Now you just wait 2 minutes for GitHub to find the line of code because it's got a syntax highlight like 30,000 lines. But after that 2 minutes, it's going to go directly to the line of code. Wait for it. Anyway, I'd look at this, I'd see how they do it, I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then I go write my own function. And yeah, so coding in a vacuum, I feel, is like, I don't know, I think it's pretty silly. I think interview questions are pretty silly. Loaded on channel points. Nice, Quando. Well, I'm not looking at chat because I'm doing interview problems. And I'm sure people are eventually in chat going to just be like saying, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? What code is this? So this is interview prep. I would never consider this real code. Algorithm questions exist in real code, but usually you'll look at what other people have done and kind of build on that. Like I said, this literally does take like 2 minutes to go find the line of code. Is HackerRank good for Python practice? If you're literally just trying to learn the language, I think it can be a bit helpful, but I think whenever you're learning a language, you should always try to isolate. Okay, here we go. It's finally finding it. So it's base sorted index. I need to go look at that. So here's how this works, and it calls base sorted index. Anyway, always cut out variables. So let's say you're trying to learn game coding. You're not trying to learn game design, unless you also are, in which case cut out the variables for that too. So copy a game, right? Like go make Tetris. Now you have no design decisions, no UI decisions to make. It's literally just go code the game. And that's perfect for that, right? So let's say you're trying to learn a language. Trying to do algorithm questions is probably not going to help too much with the language because you're going to be thinking mostly in terms of how do I get this algorithm to work. So you can see I tweaked this code a whole lot, but I didn't actually use different parts of the language. I was already using function calls and arrays and element syntax. And so there's you're not really gaining anything by having these sorts of problems, I feel. So instead what I would do is I would just set out to do a small project. With that said, yes, you can use Python on this. I'm pretty sure that's one of the options here. I don't think it's a good idea if all you're trying to do is learn the language. Yeah, there's Python. Yep. Okay. We decided to hire Jimmy. Yeah. Hey, Jimmy. Let's see. I'm actually building something right now. This is just me pretty much learning. And as far as what font I'm using, by the way, I don't know if you heard me eventually say I'm not reading chat, but there's the font command that'll link directly to it. Did I see the Twitch donation completion? No, I didn't. Nor will I probably watch it. Maybe they don't want to know if you know of a library or not. They want to see your critical thinking. I don't think they do just want to see your critical thinking. And I also think that this is so okay. To clarify what I just said, I think they do care about what algorithm you come up with. And if that algorithm is not correct or you like totally didn't complete the problem, I think most interviewers are going to be like, that was not a strong candidate. So I don't think it matters how well you're thinking there. The other thing is that I think this is a level of thinking that doesn't happen in the real world. So in the real world, like I said, you'd like look at other people's code or you'd use a library or whatever else, but you'd have some foundational point that would not be, okay, go back to your computer science training and start this from scratch. Like I don't do that. And I code products and everything, right? Like I feel competent as a developer. I don't feel competent as an interviewing candidate. And that's why I think there's this disconnect in environments and why I think that pair programming is the way to go for interviewing people, but it takes longer. Oh, that I made it into this. Sorry, I did not, apparently. Okay, let me write that down. Sorry, Alpha, I misread this. I just read, did you see the Twitch donation completion? Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at it then. To what extent is performance a consideration in this challenge? It sounds like the answer I had was rejected due to performance. So that's what made me finally go change it. Whereas in an interview setting, I would probably say the same thing I did, which is I don't know what the point of this problem is. So I'm not going to code binary search, even though it's faster. And then it turns out the point of the problem was binary search. So I had to code it. I know I'm super delayed on chat, but I'm reading stuff as I was solving the problem. So this is 11:26. It's currently 11:42. So I'll eventually make it to the bottom of this. I do want to make sure I'm reading through this. Am I going to do any system design prep, Adam? Maybe. I'm not sure. I think we're going to do interview stuff for the next few days at least. Yeah. Dokie. Keep reading. Just making sure. I want to see if there's anything else I need to respond to exactly. Someone's filtering based on blind coding. That's lame. Yeah, or can I feel like a good engineer that, and maybe this is me trying to make my own strengths sound like they're better than they are, but I feel like a good engineer is someone who can learn. But I recognize that's not always true. Sometimes a company will want to hire someone who can just do the task at hand without any need for ramp up time. But I think in general, if you want someone who's going to last for a long time at your company, you don't really care if they have 1 month of ramp up time because in the long run, that's going to pay for it because now they'll learn your stack. Yeah. Okay. I'm at the bottom of chat now. I just need to read a few more messages. Yeah, this is something I find very annoying, Takuto. Like, very annoying. I think this is, in fact, the worst kind of interviewing because as a candidate, you spend a bunch of time doing something, even if it's a half hour. Like, let's say you spend 30 minutes. I actually had this recently, and I thought, well, I have the time, so let me do it. And they said, here's a picture, make a website out of this picture. And so I went and made a bunch of HTML and CSS and like had to look things up. And I made this site and they said, cool, it's perfect. Oh, but we don't have a position that you're looking for. And it was a gigantic waste of time. And like, even if let's say they said, okay, you know what, it's perfect. We have the position you're looking for and let's move on to the rest of the interview process. I might not have liked the job in the end. So it still would have been a waste of time. And it's like, why, why should anyone spend their personal time doing something like that when I feel like there are better ways to interview people? But that's my own gripe with that, and I don't need to apply to I don't need to continue with a company that I find out is doing something like that. What would a typical interview look like? They show you a website like this and solve this problem, or what? Yeah, so what I've seen before is they'll typically have a site like this, and you join a shared coding editor, and you type out the code in front of them, basically. The dog and pony shows with the team. What do you mean, Godik? It doesn't make little fast solutions. Yeah. Yeah, I think you can learn about a language and implementing an algorithm. I just don't think that's the focus at that point. If you already know the algorithm, then yes, for sure you could do that. But I feel like if you're focusing on two things at once, you're not going to learn the language as quickly. Yeah, I agree with this too, Monetic Bind. I just wish it reflected what you're actually doing on the job. That way, all this prep would mean something. But what I find instead is that every few years I do this prep and then never touch it again, and so it's almost pointless. It wasn't that they're not even Quando. This was a very weird case that I'm talking about. So remember at the start of this search, I was looking for part-time work. And so I was reaching out to companies that had full-time listings. And I said like, hey, could you do this part-time? And the recruiter said, I can't even talk to the hiring manager unless you do some part of the interview process. So I was like, okay, let me get this straight. In order to even find out if there's a part-time position, I need to go do this set of interview problems. And he's like, yes. So I did that. And he said, okay, you got 100%. And then they said also there's no position. So it was just a huge waste of time. And thanks, Uber. I'll write that down. I'm still considering what companies to work at. We should probably do one more of these, maybe. All right, hang on one sec. Okay, sorry about that. My wife wanted to say something. Okay, so let's move on to one more of these. And let's close out all these tabs. Actually, no, you know what? Maybe it's a better idea to do the behavioral stuff. Yeah, there are some things I wanted to write down for myself and that I think people in chat might find helpful too. And this will be more interactive. So I got to go find a couple of resources because I'd started writing these down myself. So in general, for those of you who don't know, obviously the technical questions are what I was just doing. So you're given a problem, you come up with a solution. That's it. Pretty straightforward how the problem works, at least. But then there are the behavioral questions, which are things like what's your greatest strength or your greatest weakness, or what are you looking for out of a job? Pretty much any question that's not technical. Or what do you think you bring to the team? And what I found in the past is that it's best to write out a bunch of these kinds of questions and figure out what your potential answers might be so you're not scrambling on the spot for them. And so I wanted to find out, well, it's not just this stuff, I guess. So free sites to use for technical prep. And let me see, I had a list of questions that I've been asking companies. Questions to ask a company. Remember that you're interviewing the company just as much as they're interviewing you. Here are some questions that I have found helpful. So straightforward questions / circumstantial questions. Things like, is job remote? Who am I speaking to? I.e., is it a technical person, the CEO, etc.? How many engineers are on the team? How is the company funded? Why are they hiring? How many people are they hiring? These are all like just straightforward factual questions that there's pretty much no way you can mince words or answer this weirdly. Maybe they'll be a little bit private about how's the company funded, but if they're like, yeah, who am I speaking to? They have a role. They're not going to hide that from you. That's why I'm listing these under straightforward questions. How many customers do you have? And yeah, what are the next steps in the interview process? Okay, so there are some other work setup questions, I guess. Like, what technologies do you use? What OS are engineers expected to use? I should write engineering interview prep. Get allowed to do some involved task that's all but tangential to the job. Get told it's perfect, but the job doesn't fit. Yeah. Yep. This is what I find so silly, right? Is that it's just multiplied by all of the candidates that are applying for the job. Yeah. How am I on Mac? I used Mac for a year, and it took about a month for me to get to the point where I felt like I was pretty comfortable with it. So I have a bunch of notes on Mac that I had used back when I was on it. And in general, I mean, you think about it, there's an operating system, of course, has differences, and any programs used might have differences. And maybe they only have differences because of the operating system. So for example, every program on Windows, Control C is pretty much going to be copy. And on Mac, it's Command C. And unfortunately, that means you're actually using a different finger for that. So the program might be the same, but the operating system kind of produces a difference. And then sometimes they're not the same program. So for example, I got to use iTerm 2, the best terminal I've ever used. And that was only on Mac. And then same thing, automation is done through whatever they call it now, Mac automation, I don't even know. And that was pretty nice. So yeah, I think I'm fine on a Mac. It has been a while since I've used one for coding, so I'd have to like renew my bash scripts, make sure they're good enough. All right, so there are a lot of other questions that I had that I need to go find really fast, but they're questions that I think when I've ever shared them on stream, other people have really liked some of these questions. Let me copy some of these. They're not all the like gems of questions, I guess. When should I hear about this? What's the yearly review process like? Hang on a sec. Yeah, okay. Now let me lump these into here. Yeah, what's your team setup? I guess some of this is for so job team. This is like business. How many customers do you have? This is the interview process itself. This is like technologies, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'll write methodologies here too. Yeah, what methodologies do you employ? E.g., test-driven development, yeah, agile, etc. Couldn't hate the OS and devices more. Wow, really? I think the OS was fine mostly, and I think they actually made some better decisions than Windows did. And even if they weren't necessarily better, it was founded on Unix, and that makes it just so much easier to do half the things you want to do as a developer. As someone that hires applied AI developers, I always ask two things: what's your dream project, and what would you want to learn next? I see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me copy all these into here too. So business, how much is the company growing? Yeah, what are the next steps? When should I hear back? Yeah, yearly review, I don't exactly know where to write. Maybe in the team? What's the review process like? Is yearly? Are we ranked against each other? Are they just saying everyone they fit perfect, so there's no room less room? I'm not sure what you mean, yo. Yeah. Okay. How do you feel about your lead and their impact on your work? This question is one of the ones that I love. I think this is like behavioral questions for the engineering team themselves. Yeah, this is another good one. This this is, I think, my absolute favorite one to ask people who work at a company. What's your least favorite thing about working here? You learn the most by asking this question. And then this one I really like for culture fit. How often do you work later on weekends? Yeah. Do I prefer big or small teams? I don't know. I think there are pros and cons to both. I think with a small team, it's harder to avoid people who are dragging everyone else down. I think this is actually kind of a bigger problem in the tech industry in general from what I've seen is that bad people don't get fired from their jobs for some reason. And I think they should be. Anyway, I think you're shielded from those people more when you're on a big team. And same thing, like some people in tech have very strong personalities. And I generally imply that they're bad personalities. Like you get a lot of very ego driven people, people who want to play the politics game and get visibility for projects they didn't do, all those sorts of things. And I don't know. But on a small team, you can know your team better. You can be tighter knit. Okay, how much have you learned since joining? Why is that popping up? Do you like working for company? I don't think you can actually ask this question. I don't think you'll get like this won't lead to any good results because they can't say no. This one though, I really like. I think pair programming is one of the greatest things to happen in development. And the reason I think it's so great is because all you really need is someone to question assumptions that you've made and know enough about the system to be able to ask the right questions. And that's it. It takes very little to be able to get value out of it. What are things you wish you knew before you started? Are you saying to add that as a question here? Or are you asking me, Adam? Am I saying bad technically or bad as a team fit? Bad technically. There are some people who I've thought have been kind of a bad team fit, but usually I find that that's that I'm not a fit for the culture of the team, actually. Oh, that's what you ask potential coworkers. I see. Yeah, I'll add it to the list. I think it's pretty good. Okay, so those are good. Do I have to think about it yet? I have all these listed down. So I think these are good questions to ask. And then I think questions that people might ask me, this I probably wouldn't put into this note. But these are things that I actually had a really, really hard time with this. I do not like marketing for myself. I just don't like it. So here's one of the things that someone said to me because they okay, let me actually before I show this, let me give some context. I was talking about my resume to some friends. Hey, Lively Jen. And they said, you are not doing a good job selling yourself here. You should really put leadership qualities and business value and put metrics for things. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, my business has failed. I don't know what leadership qualities I showed. And they said these things. So you're showing initiative, capability to understand customers, manage a long-term project, communicate with stakeholders, invent collaborative processes. So to me, this is like marketing speak, right? And I think there are probably some qualities that were good over the last 5 years from what I had done, but in the end, I clearly did not make successful products. So I don't know what I could say. I learned while I was doing it. When I say successful, by the way, I mean monetarily successful. So let me go make a new document somewhere. Do I? Hang on a second. Oh, wow. I wrote down a lot of stuff here. Huh. Hang on. I'm gonna I should write this stuff. Oh, also I gotta remember to add first to my portfolio. What you learned is way more than someone who was only successful. I agree. I learned a ton. I just don't know how to boil that down to something that matters to a company. And it's I feel like the whole interviewing game is a minefield for the candidates and for the interviewers. As it as either side, you have no idea what the other side is telling you if it's true or not. So a candidate can be just lying through their teeth about everything, but they're really good at selling themselves. And the interviewer is probably going to be like, "Yeah, our company's great. You're going to love working here. You'll learn a lot. You'll have autonomy. You'll whatever else." And who knows if they're telling the truth? Who knows if you're telling the truth? So, how do I convince a company that what I did over the last few years is worthwhile and meaningful to them? And I, in my interviews that I've had, there was a job that I was hiring for, or sorry, interviewing for, and I said, like, I don't think I can do this job. I pretty much straight up told them, hey, here's what my worries would be if I were on the job. And I think he really appreciated that I said that. Obviously, did not move forward to the interview process. But I could have just as easily lied about all that and said, I think I can do a great job. I think you should definitely take a risk and hire me. And those are the kinds of things that would keep me up at night if I were to say. So there's this line between marketing and imposter syndrome I was mentioning on Discord that I've got to figure out how to sell those qualities. Self love is the best love. I got to internalize that. Yeah. Just show your, you know, wait, suppository. I think you mean repository. It's a very different kind of GitHub I don't know about. Yeah, I think you boil it down to you're able to architect, design, implement, see a project all the way through. I think there are parts of this that are true, but I don't think the business acumen part is correct. Or else, like I said, I think I would not be looking for a job at all, right? What? OG? Stopped the interview before and said I'm doing a horrible job. I then asked if we could start over, and I ended up getting offered the position again. So if you just keep doing that, if you just keep stopping the interview, and then there's only a minute left, and they're like, "Well, you've been perfect for this 1 minute," that'd be good. OG, I just don't know what this means. Got some good sites to get yourself up level? Are you saying like how do you improve your skills with C Sharp and Blazor? Because if so, you should just do an internet search for that. That's why I was wondering if you're a bot. This is a kind of question you ask a search engine. You just carry a laptop with all prior projects. I just use Zoom. Yeah, I need to convince companies that it's worthwhile. I guess this is what's tough is that I think people probably see Botland and they're like, okay, this looks like a game that was made in a couple of months in Unity or something, and it's like, well, there was a lot that went into it. Oh, OG, I see what you're saying. Oh, I do have experience in C Sharp. A lot of what I have experience in is typically it was done so many years ago that I don't even know if the resources I used exist still, if I could even find them again. But yeah, I would just search online for this. Yeah. Sorry, OG. I wasn't sure based on what you'd said. Yeah, other companies not so much. Okay, so let me try to write this down because I need to sort this stuff out for myself and I want to write this somewhere. I just don't know where. Let me find something. I can write this. Interviewing 2020. Yeah, let's just put this here. I'll just say like marketing myself. Behavioral questions and answers and okay. So let's talk about the autonomous days. So highlights. I'm gonna let you guys mark it for me. So Twitch is a big one. I think first is another big one. It's relevant stuff for the position. If there's anything in the requirements you don't know, rely on your ability to learn while doing. Yeah, well, this is compounded by me not knowing what I wanted to work on exactly. I think there are products out there that sound interesting, but they're not necessarily hiring or they're not in my area. Yeah, but the journey, I feel like Mr. Balrog, that's kind of covered in the resume. And so people would just read about that and be like, oh, okay, cool. You know this stuff now. Yeah. Okay. I'll write some of this stuff down. So let me go get the first command that I have here. There's this. I'm sorry, I have to look at what this picture is. What is this? Oh, yeah, okay. I remember. That had nothing to do with anything. Let's go back to this link. I don't know what this link even is. Might be a YouTube video. No. Okay, there are two YouTube videos here. Yeah, so first, I think what I want to say is I was invited by First to their robotics championship in what, 2019? Was it 2019? Yeah, wow. In April 2019 to conduct interviews, produce live stream content, and something else, and be on panels. More info here. So Twitch was a lot of stuff. I feel like I don't know what to say for this. How do I yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. What do you think a company would care about from me streaming on Twitch? Because I think all it's going to sound like is I'm on Instagram. I've got 40,000 followers, and a company would be like, "Why would we care?" Well, Metalstorm, yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is, how can I say that I learned anything about? Well, not learned anything about business. The technical wealth of knowledge I gained is there. The business side of things and like product vision, I feel like is not proven by any of that. I can show it and tell how complicated it is. Yeah, yeah. I've talked about that too. Do I often get questions like algorithm performance and solving problems? I haven't done a lot of interviews this time around, but yeah, in general, they're very, very prevalent. Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess it's presentation consistency. Yeah, and I guess it's kind of like management. Chat is wild. No, honestly, I think there's the communication aspect too. Skills honed. Say that. I don't know, monadic bind. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think for a while the view counts were up there, but I don't think a company cares about that unless they're trying to leverage that. But I haven't been streaming very consistently lately. All right, I guess like management. I guess it's like feedback loop, staying on topic, micro context switching. Well done, architect, design, implement, see the product all the way through. I feel like that's consistency. But yeah, we've talked about with Botland and Adam Learns. Well, Botland architected, designed, implemented, and released the project from start to finish. Dev chops. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you were a viewer back then, Mike, but our dev chops days. Managing a remote team. That was kind of there, I guess. Yeah, managing a remote team, but it wasn't to the extent that I think a company would care. Like here's how things really went. There were 6 artists. There was a UX designer. There was a sound designer. There was a voice actor, and there was a developer. And the developer was Hideo, who is tied for #1 of most professional developers I've ever worked with. There's one other person, so this is a 2-way tie. And what this means is that he was not at all difficult to manage. Hideo and this other guy that he's never been on the stream, so it's not worth mentioning. But this other guy too, they're the kind of developers where you can pretty much be confident that if you said, hey, here's a vague task, you would get everything done like faster than you wanted and better than you wanted. Do you know the other person? No. It's someone I worked with at Microsoft. I greatly respect that person. He took it to an extreme, though. Actually, probably both people took it to an extreme. Yeah. So anyway, my point is that this is the person I worked with the most was Hideo. And I had almost nothing to manage there. It was basically like delegate tasks. And as far as management goes, that's probably the easiest management task you can ever have. I think the difficult management tasks are having to work on someone's performance improvement, having to take into account their career goals while you give them tasks, navigating politics of what's going on in your team, improving morale. All of those things are what makes management difficult. And I didn't have to do any of that with the developer. Now, as for the artist, there was a level of indirection here where I only directly spoke to the artist a few times and mostly went through a UX designer. UX designer, there wasn't, I guess, like too much management. There was a little bit. I honestly think the most management that happened was with the co-founder that I had, which that was only for the first year. And that ended up with no co-founder at the end. So, yeah, I don't know how much I can say about that. That's still managing in the team. Just happens they were good at what they do. But isn't that kind of cheating? Like, imagine if you had 10 of the best developers in the world, and then you made one of those developers a lead. So now you have 1 lead under you and 9 developers under them. Could you say you managed a team of 10? I mean, I guess technically. So yeah, manage a remote team, I guess is it's technically accurate, but it doesn't really paint the whole picture. So Adam learns, I think this is another like really shows presentation and structure. And also learn lots of technologies quickly and applied many of them while learning. I think this is the major highlight of all this. Yeah. So this is still, so adamlearns.com is what I'm talking about when I say Adam Learns. And Adam Learns is where I had made these courses and they're here. And the presentation style that I'm talking about is basically like, if you look at these YouTube videos, you'll see everything is very polished and like clean and I hope easy to understand. I don't think there's any better way of looking at this than those videos. Now, there's nothing else that really happened in this time, right? In the last 5 years on stream, I've worked on Botland for like 4.5 of those years. Adam Learns for 2 months. Twitch is part of that entire thing. And then, yeah, there was the first robotics championship. Did anything else happen? I guess there was the sponsorship too. I don't know what to talk about here, though. Why would this even be relevant? Yeah, I don't know. And that's it, right? Then I guess the only other thing we have is a not really Botland playlist, which maybe will spark some other ideas for this. There were some celebrations, some video games, some piano playing, trying out different programs. I don't think there's anything interesting here. No, yeah, I don't think anything's interesting there. Were there any other side projects that I had done during that time? I guess there was Keanu. Keanu.adamlearns.com. The greatest project I've ever done and ever will do. Did a couple of talks on schools and education. Oh yeah, you're right. I did that. Yeah, there was the coding bootcamp presentation. There was a JavaScript meetup talk. I don't remember what I even talked about. I guess we talked about, I guess another thing is like influence / inspired audience, helped with career growth, etc. I don't know, I can't really say etc. here. Helped with career growth, pair programming, specific resources like blogs, articles, tips, direct help. Career growth, pair programmed on one occasion. I don't know. I'll just say occasionally. Blogs, wrote articles, tips, pair programmed or directly helped with a specific question. Articles and tips. Yeah. I don't totally understand references in the job world. So think about it this way, right? You have a company and you have the candidate. So the candidate's going to be me in this case, and then you have a reference. So let's say it's Hideo in this case. The company doesn't know Hideo, and the company doesn't know me. So why would they trust my reference? This is one of those things where I feel like you can only trust them if they say bad things because they have no incentive to say bad things. So if Hideo was like, he's the worst guy I ever worked with, I hate Adam, then the company probably knows, okay, we shouldn't hire this guy. But if he says anything other than that, and it's like, he was great to work with, he really knew his stuff, it was a pleasure. It's like, okay, that didn't tell me anything. They always have to trust your references. No, I know, but that's what I'm saying is they have to trust someone they don't know giving them references to another person they don't know. So I feel like all they can find out is bad stuff. I'm not saying asking for references is a bad idea from a company because they probably do benefit from asking those questions and then finding out bad stuff. But I don't see why they'd want to hear good things, I guess. You know, the context I'm going to check that was easy to work with. Yeah, I guess so. What 3 languages am I fluent at in order? Are you like specifically asking me, or are we trying to add this to the behavioral questions? It's a lot of noise. Only time I was asked for a reference when I was a junior, and even then it didn't matter. I've never been asked for a reference as far as I know. And I, if I were interviewing, I don't think I'd ask people for references. Jay, what do you feel a reference, or what do you feel the benefit is? Because like I said, I certainly think there's a benefit if the reference says bad stuff. Then you can be pretty sure the candidate is bad. Since there's no incentive for a candidate to list a bad reference. So, they must have been telling the truth. But yeah, I'd be curious to hear what you think is the benefit. Aren't they typically former bosses? I think so. I think just bosses or coworkers, pretty much. References are usually good to see how often and how quickly someone changed jobs in the past. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Excuse me. They'll verify things you said in the interview. I mean, if they even can verify it. But then the other thing too is like, why should you trust them? I guess you'd have to ask them more specific questions than was this person good to work with? Maybe something like, what was that person's impact on this project? And they could say, oh, well, they architected the whole thing. Yeah. Okay. I guess some of those things can help. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's reference stuff. I think I should be answering some of the other behavioral questions, but I think those might be a little bit personal too, and I want to comb through those. Comb through the behavioral questions I'd written for myself from previous interviews. Yeah. Lowers the risk. Okay, yeah. I can see. I still think that's not a huge value for references, and it also takes the company time to ask. But I guess there is more value than I thought. That is true. Okay, so here's what I think I'm gonna probably do because I want to get lunch pretty soon. So I think maybe Monday to Wednesday of next week, maybe we'll do more interview prep, mostly technical again. So we'll just keep going through some of these problems. Maybe we'll try out leak code. I want to feel like I've covered probably at least like 20 to 40 hours of this. So if you guys like that kind of stream that you saw today, I think that's what you could probably expect from Monday to Wednesday. We might try to make it a little more collaborative, but I'm a bit worried. You know what? That's what I'll write down. Yeah. Monday, make it more collaborative at first so that we're solving problems together. There's no dearth of problems out there. So it's good to get practice before performing. Okay, well, thank you guys for watching so far. I am gonna go get lunch, and then that's it for the stream for today. I'll probably be back on Monday next, I think. Yeah. So let's go host someone. Who shall it be? Okay, let's host Raimu. Everyone here was here for technical stuff, so I feel like I will leave it with a technical streamer. Raimu is a great guy. You guys will enjoy him, and if not his stream content, then his voice, which is very relaxing. So again, thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday.